folks, this is something really special. The Horseshoe, a century of showdowns and one of the ultimate proving grounds in this sport, but historic, a first-round playoff collision, and it's frigid and it's frenzied, clashing colors, scarlet and the bright big orange of Tennessee sharing space here. A strong showing by the Vol Nation. Two heavyweights, each taking a couple of losses, and have battled their way into this 8-9 game. Welcome to the 12-team college football playoff. First round presented by Allstate. This is the Fortnite OG Kickoff. You got three teams already have gotten their first ever playoff win. Notre Dame last night at home got out fast against Indiana and never looked back. Irish will take on Georgia in the quarterfinals. This afternoon in Happy Valley, where it snowed early this morning, Penn State's defense was the story. A pair of pick sixes, SMU just a little bit overwhelmed by the occasion. And this afternoon in Austin, Texas, the Longhorns got out to a big lead. Clemson showed heart, but Texas wins it by 2 touchdowns, and they'll take on Arizona State in the quarterfinals. So, Kurt, one final piece remaining to decide who's going to play in the quarters.
Yeah, if you start at the bottom, you just showed it. I mean, Notre Dame really outclassed Indiana. Penn State way too much for SMU. Up top, that Clemson game, Clemson got themselves back in that game. You're right. They showed a lot, got within 7. Give Texas credit for winning. And all we have left now is 8-9 in this setting. I just heard Reese say anytime you come on the Banks Hole in Tangi, it's always a big, decisive advantage for Ohio State. I'm telling you, I've been coming here since 1975. I've never seen this many colors of the opposing team in this stadium. It's very eerie. It's creating a lot of hype for this game.
It's incredible. Of course, Ohio State coming off that crushing loss to Michigan. Can the quarterback, Will Howard, bounce back? He selected Ohio State for moments like this. They selected him in the portal from Kansas State, hoping he could be the catalyst for all these talented playmakers. How could he become his best self tonight?
Well, he's going to have to make plays. He's going to have help up front. I mean, that's really the key to this game. We'll talk more about that, the offensive line. But Will Howard's had a great year. His 1 year coming over from Kansas State. How he plays and the decisions he makes will be critical, especially coming off the Michigan game and the way that game ended.
Offensive line has been an issue. Protection's been an issue. The Tennessee front is very stout. It's like an old school SEC team. Weird for a Josh Heupel offense because they kind of run first behind the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, Dylan Sampson, I think, took on most of this offense's approach because he had a young quarterback. And I think because of that, he has a monster year. Tennessee has won most of his years with defense and running the football.
Tennessee, their hype video has played. That's a wrinkle in the CFP, even on the road. They were on the outside of the bracket, got some help, came from behind to beat Vanderbilt, and here they are on the road in Columbus with plenty of support. About a 5-hour ride from Knoxville, and many have made the trip north to be a part of history. The program comparison is presented by Fortnite OG. In total wins, Ohio State can get the W and tie Alabama atop. First ever playoff for Tennessee. Ohio State's 6th appearance in the previous 5. Won the championship in year 1. Fell short against Alabama, and 3 times they've lost in the semifinals.
Yeah, both these teams with so much tradition. Ohio State at home, you know, it's such a different set of circumstances only because of the way this season ended. The last time there was a game played on this field, Ohio State is beat by their rival. The flag planting situation, the fight afterwards, Ohio State's done everything they can to put that drama behind them and focused on the postseason. Still a chance to get into the playoffs and maybe make a run to win a national championship. But it's 60 minutes right now. Vols and Ohio State, may the best team win and advance.
It's cold, it's windy, you got 2 elite defenses on the field. It feels like a game where everything is going to be magnified. The mistakes, the big plays, those red zone opportunities. Nico Iamaleava comes from California, coldest game he's ever played. He's kind of a chill personality type. He's had some struggles on the road, though, Kurt, this season.
Yeah, I really like to see that moment there, almost just kind of taking it in. Very mature young man for a freshman, just maybe a few moments to himself, maybe a prayer, just try to get in the right frame of mind. This is talking about Will Howard and Ohio State. This is why he came to Columbus. This is why Nico went to Knoxville. This is what he wanted. An opportunity. Look at Josh Heupel. Let's have some fun, man. Turn it loose.
Ohio State 3 goals. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten. 0 for 2. There is 1 goal remaining. Win a national championship. They need 4 wins to re-script a crushing end of the season. This is step 1 tonight. First ever December game in this place that's been hosting the Buckeyes for more than 100 years. The all-scarlet uniforms. We're overdue for a classic first-round playoff game. Maybe the Buckeyes and the Volunteers will provide it. You're watching the Fortnite OG Kickoff back in Columbus after this short break.
More teams means more emotion.
This is about us.
More drama. More dreams.
And I'm feeling good.
Buckeyes history was written here for over 100 years. For the first time, it adds a page for a playoff game.
Touchdown, Ohio State.
My gosh, what a play.
This place is revved up.
The stadium and the stakes are new to the Vols, and they're ready.
Everything you work for, everything you strive for, is for this game.
Say Ohio State, and you speak volumes about legacy.
Let's party, Columbus.
With Southern pride on their side, Tennessee means to seize this chance.
Go take the damn thing. Everybody got me? We will not let it walk it off. Let's get it, baby.
In the first round from Ohio Stadium, history, opportunity, and more.
I'm feeling good.
The historic 9-foot side will seize that opportunity. Great to have Holly Rowe and Marty Smith in the field. Marty from the Volunteers side with Coach Heupel.
Thank you, Chris. Coach, this is as good as it gets, man. What is the added emphasis and importance of physicality at the point of attack tonight?
Absolutely. Play a big-time game. Physicality, line of scrimmage is going to be super important, but there's going to be physicality all over this field. We got to go play.
Thank you, Coach. Have fun. It is 25 degrees at the field level, officially tying the coldest kickoff in Tennessee football history. They want to make sure that quarterback Nico Iamaleava stays warm tonight. So Coach Heupel has stressed to Nico, make sure you stay warm so you don't have to get warm. They sewed fleece-lined pockets into Nico's jersey, and they ordered very hot electric warmers off the internet to keep him warm. Now let's head to Holly with Ryan Day.
Well, Coach Day, you talked about the importance of getting out to a fast start. I saw you talk to Will Howard during warm-ups. What are your final reminders to him?
Just play within himself, play with poise, take care of the ball early, get into a rhythm. We're going to start with the ball here, so let's get a great drive going.
Thank you, Coach. The cold is also an issue over here. They've, of course, got bench warmers, heaters blowing hot air. The biggest problem is hydration. You don't want to drink when it's this cold outside, so there are a lot of bottles getting these guys to drink some water. And Will Howard, the quarterback, told me he's not bothered by the cold. His last game at Kansas State last year, there was 6 to 8 inches of snow. He said, this is nothing. No sleeves, no gloves, no problem.
Holly, thank you. There is tremendous pressure on this home team to re-script the ugly end of the season. Opportunity awaits. A place in football paradise to the winner in a New Year's date against Oregon on the line. Enjoy an historic special night in the Horseshoe. The boot by Josh Kirbyville, fair caught. And here comes this Ohio State offense. Will Howard, a threat to run strategically, efficient passer. He's been focused on those 8 interceptions. They've come at bad times. They've been really disastrous plays at times.
Well, especially the last game, a pick in the red zone, picking his deep in his own area that led to Michigan's touchdown. And I think this guy's, other than that, this guy has really stepped in and won this team over with his leadership. He's big, he's athletic, can make plays with his legs, especially on third down when he needs to. Important for he and Ohio State to try to get off to a good start with this atmosphere and with the way their season ended.
Much more experience than his counterpart for Tennessee, the 40th start in Howard's career, 28 of those at Kansas State. Quinshon Judkins, the electric bat to the right of the quarterback. They pitch it to the edge. Emeka Ibuka gets a block and gets forward for about 6 or 7. Here's the impact players when Ohio State's got the ball.
Yeah, they're going to start in the backfield. You'll see a couple backs. Trevion Henderson, a veteran, has been through a lot. We'll talk about that. Jeremiah Smith, the true freshman receiver, is unbelievable. They're looking to try to get him isolated. Norman Lott, 55. Ohio State on issue with Michigan's defensive line. Norman Lott is really their most athletic man. And then keep an eye on Jermod McCoy, the top corner for Tennessee. They'll leave him on an island quite a bit tonight.
2nd and 2. Howard from the pocket, steps up, delivers across the middle. High ball incomplete. Good effort by Ibuka. It was high and behind him. Couldn't quite collect it. 3rd and short coming up.
Well, that opened up. He had a big throwing lane there. The linebackers cleared out. He looked right, came back to the left. Ball's a little bit high and behind. Ibuka making a great effort there. You can see once he had his right hand on the ball, he started to look for a safety, maybe coming down to hit him. Just not quite able to finish that. He's got great hands. Gave a good effort there. Brings up 3rd down.
Tennessee very stout on 3rd down. Play clock already at 5 as they get lined up for this first 3rd down conversion. And the operation not that brisk. And so they'll spend an early timeout. Both teams absolutely focused on starting fast, Kirk. We've seen the visiting teams in these playoff games struggle out of the gate, and momentum is built against them. Yeah, challenge.
It is important, especially, like I said, especially for Ohio State, with the way their season ended and with this atmosphere. They've never seen anything like that. To come in and see 40 or 50,000 orange.
That many?
I think there's 40,000 in here. And I look out. Oh, yeah.
That might be a little high. There's a lot of orange here. Maybe what? Are you kidding me?
To me, it's 40,000. At least 40,000.
It's shocking. You're right.
Yeah.
Ohio State's offensive line, they've lost 2 key players to injuries in this season. Seth McLaughlin out, so Carter Hinsman steps up. He was last year's starting center, moves over from guard. Donovan Jackson is the guard moving out to left tackle since midseason.
Such a big story. Donovan Jackson has been selfless in his approach. He's an All-American guard, but he had to kick out with those injuries to play that left tackle spot.
3rd and 2. Howard again looking to throw, pressured, and he'll be dragged down. There's a flag. Bryson Eason got him, but I think he got the face mask as well.
Well, that's the Achilles heel, and he did grab the face mask. That'll give Ohio State a break, but that's the issue in the interior for Ohio State. Shabula, the right guard.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's an ACC officiating crew tonight. Jerry Magallanes is the referee. And yeah, that mental mistake by Eason moves the ball out near midfield.
Yeah, he got in so quickly. A chance to come up with that sack. The left hand just gets up too high on the face mask. Watch how quick he is. This is the concern. Who's going to win that matchup? Just a mismatch there on this 3rd down. Works right around him. And Shabula, again, is the offensive guard who struggled in those one-on-one situations against Michigan the entire game.
When you match up these 2 teams, notable difference in penalty yardage. Tennessee penalized a lot more than Ohio State this season. James Pierce, the pass rusher off the edge, makes a play, tackling Judkins for a loss.
He chased that down from behind. That's a counter play. You shouldn't be thinking about the backside defensive end, but he chased that down with no problem, no fear at all of Howard pulling that.
Some tempo being used here. They whistle the play dead before the snap. And it's going to be a false start. So I don't know if it's the Volunteer fans on the road causing problems or just the tension of the moment, but they're now way behind the sticks.
Offense, all 11 players were not set before the snap.
Ohio State trying to go tempo.
2nd down.
That's one of the ways to try to create a little bit of momentum yourself, get Tennessee confused and on their heels, and it worked as far as Tennessee was trying to get lined up, but Will Howard did not allow the receivers all to get set, so a little bit of a back and forth here with some of these penalties.
You haven't seen Ohio State. They've gone away from the tempo. Actually, the slowest playing team in the playoff field. They run the fewest plays. They tried to get ready for the long haul by not playing quite as frenetically in the regular season. Wear and tear reduced, Ryan Day believes. Downfield, Trevion Henderson on the wheel route. Nice ball from Howard. First down near the Volunteer 35. He got 21.
That time he came out of the backfield, motioned him. See, the linebacker sees him, gets a little bit caught up in traffic, and it frees him. That's actually a defensive end, and a mismatch there for Henderson to go down that right sideline. Joseph's usually a guy that rushes the quarterback with zone pressure. He's out there in that flat. Tough matchup for him.
Chip Kelly, the play caller, loves to feature the two backs as receivers. And now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. The freshman, Jeremiah Smith.
Well, this is the plan, to be able to attack these corners one-on-one. Does he hold on, finish the catch? Comes down, he gets the left arm underneath to be able to prevent the ball from coming loose. Really good job. Look at that right arm, grab it on. Does he finish? He does. That's a touchdown for Ohio State, and what a way to start for the Buckeyes.
Sensational freshman year from Smith that comes from Miami Gardens. Leads this team in receiving yards. A special kind of player, destined to be another Buckeye receiver drafted high in the first round, but in the meantime, he's going to have a productive career here. And what a way for Ohio State to start. The face mask penalty got the drive going.
And Ryan Day said they're going to be aggressive. Tennessee leaves their corners on islands. He just gets lost, never locates the football. How about the throw by Will Howard to get this game started, and the focus and concentration by the freshman to finish that off for a 7-0 Ohio State lead.
And Nika when the balls answer.
Number 25, Ohio State.
In this new era in college football's postseason, Tennessee won the first game in the BCS era. In '98, they beat Florida State. Ohio State won the championship in the first year of the 4-team bracket. Knocking off Oregon after beating Alabama. Great Sugar Bowl semifinal game. And here they are. 8-9 game in year one of the 12-team CFP. Just the second ever meeting between Smokey and Bruce. The first was a Citrus Bowl. You remember that one?
I remember that one. Yeah, I do.
Well, Josh Heupel's offense, Kirk, not often have they got onto a quick start. They did their last massive road test at Georgia, ended up losing that game, but very often they've gotten off to slow starts and turned the ball over. So Nico Iamaleava, 14th start, came out of the gate quickly. Mid-season, the passing game began to struggle a bit. They began to feature the run more and more. What do you expect from him tonight?
I think you just summed up the entire year very well. I think they've been very smart. You think of Josh Heupel, you think they're going to stretch you sideline to sideline. They're going to take vertical shots like they did with Joe Milton last year, Hendon Hooker before. This year they've been a little bit smarter. They've eased the young freshman quarterback in, relied more on their defense and the running game. He's going to obviously have to make plays, but it starts with the offensive line tonight in this run game.
Iamaleava from the pocket has time. Nobody open, takes off. He's a long strider and a dangerous scramble. Forced out nicely by Caleb Downs, the transfer from Alabama after a 3-yard gain.
And obviously, you just talked about Simpson. There's a lot of skill guys I could talk about in this environment. I'm going with the veteran up front, Cooper Hayes. Yeah, I think he's got a big role tonight communicating. Caleb Downs, you keep an eye on number 2, the top safety in college football, and Denzel Burke, much like the Tennessee corners. Ohio State will play a lot of man. He's going to have to play great against some very talented, long Tennessee receivers.
2nd and 7. They hand it off on the right side, and Sampson plows forward for a game that'll set up a 3rd and 4. Here is that Tennessee offensive line. Pretty good in pass protection. Opening creases for Sampson. Mays is the leader, hadn't allowed a sack in 26 games, so it's hard to beat them.
Yeah, they run downhill. They're physical. They love the counter play where they give their talented back Sampson enough time to use his vision and patience. He bounces a lot of these runs.
Buckeyes, like Tennessee, very stout on third down. Nico trying to throw for it, and now scrambling, and he will get hit hard and knocked down short of the marker. So forced out of the pocket, Cody Simon and Big Jack Sawyer sandwiched him, and here comes the punt team.
Well, Ohio State, really good job at coverage. What they wanted to do, they wanted to challenge Nico tonight is to make him come off his primary. If primary's not there, they felt confident that he would look down, start to take off, and show some of his youth. Look at those scarlet jerseys flying around, but that really started with Jim Knowles' defense and the coverage to take away his primary receiver.
Caleb Downs, a dangerous punt returner, took one to the house against Indiana. Jackson Ross, the Aussie. Nothing is routine in the kicking game on a cold night. This is a line drive that Downs comes up, makes a fair catch at the 32-yard line. Tremendous opening drive for Will Howard. His touchdown pass has Ohio State on top. Second possession straight ahead.
The College Football Playoff first round is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands. And in part by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Early November, Iamale Abba was concussed in this hit against Mississippi State. Missed the second half of this game, but came back the next week and played at Georgia.
Yeah, that was something that, you know, a lot of Tennessee fans were concerned about. And tonight, if you were watching that scramble, there's a big hit there at the end by Cody Simon, an inside linebacker. Been a little bit of a follow-through there. But that initial hit, we watched him closely. It cracked his helmet. It was such a big hit. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, that gives you an idea of what's going on out in that field. The collisions that are going on. That was Cody Simon who hit it. I think it's more about checking the equipment than checking him. He appears to be fine.
It changed the kind of helmet he wore after that concussion to a more protective type. Howard off the fake. Wide open is Smith. And their freshman, they want to get him at least 10 touches, has had 2 huge touches already, got 18.
They put him in a slot. Chip Kelly, most of the year, had him in the X into the boundary. Now they put him in a slot. They're trying to come up with different ways to look at Chip. Came over from UCLA as a head coach to work with Ryan Day, who played for him in New Hampshire. A nice job, a little wrinkle there, moving their star receiver around and bringing him from the backside on that play action look.
Henderson in the backfield. That's Judkins who comes in motion. It's Henderson inside, plowing ahead. What an effective 1-2 punch. Henderson, the featured back. They ran it by him. We want to bring in Judkins from Ole Miss. Are you on board? He said, absolutely. And Kirk, they are super fresh at this stage of the season.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of being unselfish. They've worked together. They cheer for each other. You hear that a lot in the modern game of college and NFL football. You need 2 good backs. And when Judkins came in, Trevion Henderson didn't blink. And both these guys have shared the duties. Whoever gets the hot hand gets the carries.
4-yard pickup on first. And the Tennessee fans on the road making some noise for Howard. Play fake from the pocket. Downfield dart, and it's caught by Ibuka inside the 5. What a start for the quarterback. 31-yard strike.
He found that matchup. He found the check. He saw single high, made the check, knew that he would have a linebacker out of position, and it was just a foot race. That's actually a safety walked up, Jacoby Thomas. Great adjustment there by Will Howard, and how about the focus again by one of the receivers? When you have a great night as a quarterback, the receivers make great catches. Twice now, Smith and now Ibuka with great catches.
After the 40-yard gain, first and goal, ball on the ground, and it's scooped up. Judkins, wasn't a clean handoff from Howard there, but he's down to the 1.
Sometimes on those RPOs, the quarterback and the running back, you're not sure, are you going to give it to me or are you going to pull it? And I think it's a little confusion. I think he wanted to try to pull it out. Judkins wanted to grab it. He's very fortunate. That ball was behind him. See his eyes? He's looking to see if he wants to make a throw. He was trying to pull it out to make the throw. Judkins grabbed onto it. It was behind him.
It never hit the ground. He just pinned it to his backside. I formation, 3 tight ends. Judkins plows in. Ohio State with the perfect start. Quickly up 2 scores.
I think it's pretty obvious between the negativity after the Michigan game. They walk out in their home stadium. They see maybe 40,000 Tennessee fans. It became even more of an us against the world mentality for Ohio State within that locker room. And they came out swinging here early. It was imperative that they get off to a good start for Ryan Day. And they certainly have done that here with a couple scores early.
68 yards in 5 plays. Again, Jeremiah Smith, the big play early in the drive to get it going. Howard 5 of 6 for 124 in that touch. 2 5-play touchdown drives.
Yeah, this is a good job up front. Momentum. This is an offensive line that was much maligned after that Michigan game. Tight ends are getting in there. There's Gerd with a great block there, leading the way.
Can Tennessee answer Day's team?
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you want to lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
By far the best first quarter for Ohio State this season. It's the only other time they scored more than 7 in the first quarter was Western Michigan, which was an early season night game. This is the only big night game they played, and it is juiced up more than it was 10 minutes ago.
Now, there may be a lot of orange in here, but that south end zone is rocking with this early start for Ohio State.
A lot of orange, but it's the scarlet making noise.
Yep.
So the second possession coming up for Nico Iamaleava and the Vols offense. Let's go to Marty Smith on the Volunteers sideline. That was a big hit in the first series, Marty.
It was a huge hit, Chris. In fact, you put a 6-inch crack on top of Nico Iamaleava's helmet. He now has a new helmet. The equipment staff for Tennessee worked vigorously during that last time to try to prepare the new helmet, and they just told me, the equipment staff did, that it was very similar to what happened to Patrick Mahomes' helmet in Kansas City a few weeks back. Kirk, you could probably speak to what happened there.
Oh boy, I've never had my helmet cracked, that's for sure, but the communication is very, very key in this environment. And for Tennessee to just kind of settle into this game, they need to make a few plays here.
Sampson trapped behind the line. Bishop, spelling Sampson.
Boy, this Ohio State defensive line has got some playmakers themselves. We've talked about Tennessee. Look at that perfect technique by Tyleik Williams at 330 pounds.
Iamaleava again, pressured and sacked back at the 10. Huge flex. Tyleik Williams got in there.
Tuimoloau actually sets almost a screen up with movement here, and that frees up Tyleik Williams to work around it. There's nobody there to pick him up. He ends up getting there first, and Tuimoloau ends up cleaning it up. This defense, man, they are playing with some energy.
I was wondering if Tuimoloau would tackle Iamaleava at half.
Oh, you were waiting for that one.
3rd and 23. And it's batted down. Couldn't even get the ball to the perimeter quickly. Ohio State just swarming. Another 3 and out.
Well, these guys are
dialed all over the place.
Yeah, these guys are dialed in. Jack Sawyer, pretty much everybody on this defensive line has made a play. Sawyer, watch this, just the athletic ability, the timing. Waits for the right time, gets a hand up, knocks this down, keeps Tennessee deep in their own territory to set up this punt.
Jackson Ross standing in his end zone. We knew it'd be a challenge for these road teams in year one of the first-round playoff games on the campuses. It was a tough start last night for Indiana, and it was a tough start for SMU this afternoon. But this is early urgency whistle before the punt.
They got to delay a game unless there was a timeout. Push them back further.
Play game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remain 4th down.
The start. Every coach has repeated the same mantra to their team. It could not be any worse for Tennessee at the moment.
No, I mean, every phase of this game, Ohio State just really dominating off to this fast start. We're just 7 minutes to go in this first quarter.
See if they come after the punt of Ross, down, standing near midfield to receive it. They back off to set up a return. It's a line drive kick again. Downs muffs. The ball bouncing around, a scramble for it. He was able to retain possession and avoid the turnover. That was the break that Tennessee needed, but the Buckeyes keep it at their 42.
Yeah.
Cold night is going to be tricky for these returners. And that one was almost a momentum changer. Ohio State keeps it. See Chip Kelly criticized for the Michigan game. Offense was troubled, couldn't really run it. 2 interceptions from Howard. How about tonight? 13.3 per play.
That's 10 plays, 14 points versus what they did in 60 minutes. Credit to Michigan, but a totally different mindset and approach for Ohio State tonight with the creativity and the aggressiveness. 3 of the 5 completions, over 20 yards already for Will Howard.
Reminder how good this Volunteers defense has been in the SEC. Howard is chased, has to throw it away. Already Ohio State scored more than the Volunteers usually give up in a game, which is 13.9. Holly.
So guys, right tackle for Ohio State, Josh Fryer, was injured on the last offensive possession. They've taken him over, looked at his right ankle, and have heavily taped that ankle. But I can tell you he's hurting. He just gave up penetration on that last play. This offensive line's been beset by injuries all year. They cannot afford to let anybody go down. He's going to have to power through right now, Kirk.
Yeah, Holly, you're right. That last play, as you were watching, it actually flushed Howard out, the pressure.
Out of the backfield, it's Henderson in the flat, gets some blocks, lowers the head, and picks up first down yardage in Tennessee territory.
This is a really good job of attacking out of the perimeter. Ohio State has tremendous team speed, not only at receiver. We've talked about Chunkins and Henderson. And right now you'll see Chip Kelly trying to get his skill out in space against this Tennessee defense that has not given up very many big plays all year.
Volunteers are being stretched horizontally and vertically already in this first quarter. Those throws in the flats, those deep shots downfield, it's all working.
Yeah, and Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator from Tennessee, I think has done as well, as good of a job as any coordinator in the country. In fact, he's a finalist for the Broyles as one of the top assistant coaches. His defense, if Tennessee's going to get back in this game, his defense is going to have to make a play, create a turnover.
Buckeyes behind the sticks, 2nd and 11.
Interesting, if you widen out, you got 3 receivers to the right, and you really don't have enough defensive. Okay, now they make the adjustment.
It's a huge cushion for Smith. He came out of a slot there, nobody near him, easy access pickup there.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, is as much as Jeremiah Smith has made plays, shocked that he's out here by himself, just kind of isolated. Here's another receiver out to his right. So they're changing their mindset. Instead of being aggressive, instead of putting press man and getting into the face of these talented receivers, they're kind of trying to prevent the big play, keeping the ball in front of them.
3rd down, need 5.
This is the question. Can this offensive line protect in these kind of situations?
Tennessee's showing some pressure. Don't bring it. They back out into coverage. Howard scanning. Long throw. And he finds Abuka in the zone, who makes the catch inside the 30.
Take a look at these three defensive backs, these three receivers. At the last second, the snap of the ball, they come down. Now he's got to make that read and decides to go over top of that corner, number 6. That was a long developing play, and you got to be able to trust your offensive line. Questions about how they'd protect. That time, they gave him plenty of time to make that read and throw.
Elijah Simmons, senior from Memphis, one of the 5 300-pounders that the Volunteers rotate in the interior of that defensive line, being looked at by the athletic trainers. So they had the answer on that third down conversion. Now this Volunteer defense, I mean, I know it's the first quarter and we've only played 10 minutes, but there's some serious urgency for them to get a stop here.
Yeah, and go back to the opening drive. The place was going crazy. Tennessee got Ohio State to a third down. Made a great play in the interior with Amari Thomas. Came in, got the sack. It was going to be fourth down. Actually, I'm sorry, it was Bryson Eason. Came in, got the sack. He pulled on that face mask. So instead of a punt for Ohio State on the opening series, get the ton of momentum. Instead, it's a face mask to keep the Ohio State drive alive. Ended up scoring on the drive.
We win 9 games without allowing opponents to get 20 points until Georgia put 31 on them. So this is uncharacteristic.
And if you're just tuning in, to give you an idea, it's 164 yards of offense for Ohio State, -6 for Tennessee.
Howard on the move, flips you short. Henderson was going full, or excuse me, G. Scott, the tight end, going full speed, made the catch but couldn't hit the brakes. Runs out of bounds for a loss. Well, they cracked his helmet early and they pressured him consistently tonight, Iamaleava.
This is a big series for both teams here. Big opportunity for Ohio State, and Tennessee needs to really bow up here defensively. One of the better teams in the country in the red zone area. The Buckeyes not quite there yet.
Handoff, breaking into the clear. Henderson, touchdown Ohio State. They're 3 for 3. Well, the Tennessee fans have been flexing here in Columbus today. Once the game's kicked off, it's been a serious scarlet flex on the field.
How about the explosive style of back that Ohio State has? Really 2 of them in Henderson and Junkins. That time, I'm going to show it to you here in a second. Henderson, once he got out, there's nobody bringing him down.
29-yard touchdown sprint. Total yards are 191 to -6 at the moment.
A counter play, Chris, going this way. So you think this play is designed to go out to the left after the motion. Watch this move by Henderson. The feel off that counter play. To Tennessee's credit, they shut it down. And then watch this right here by the safeties coming up and run support Will Brooks. No chance there to slow him down. Really, I think the athleticism. Great blocks in the interior there. What a job there by Luke Montgomery, who has not played a lot of football. Look at him drive the Tennessee defender into the ground. And then Henderson with that speed and acceleration. Just no chance for that back end after the safety. Brooks missed it.
A lot of folks wondering, including Ohio State faithful, how this team would respond. You lose to Michigan, a game that a lot of fans here would rather win than win a national championship, as crazy as that sounds. Would they feel the pressure and play like it, or would they respond and bring out their best? I think we've seen it's the second so far tonight. Tides, tackles. They can look at what we've seen so far out here.
What we're seeing is this defensive line. You don't have to overload the line of scrimmage when you have a defensive line that's playing the way Ohio State's is. And a big part of defending Tennessee is, can you win at the line of scrimmage? Can your defensive line prevent you, because of the way they stretch you sideline to sideline, from having to declare numbers and put a bunch of guys up near the line of scrimmage to stop that run game? Right now, Ohio State's defensive line is winning. It's allowing Ohio State to stay back against Nico in that pass game and just win up front.
7th play for Tennessee. And again, it's Iamaleava pulling the ball and showing his acceleration as a runner. That's their first positive play and their first down after the 33.
Yeah, he read Tuimoloau out that time. It looked like it was going to be a loss potentially, but good job by Nico pulling that and getting positive yards to the first.
Second ball at the 39, bobbled snap by Iamaleava, who settles down and delivers a low throw, incomplete, trying to find Brew McCoy. Got 4 solid receivers on this Tennessee team. No standout superstar, but it's a good receiving corps.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Brew McCoy's been through a lot as a volunteer. Banged up last year, missed most of the year. Worked through some injuries this year, but you look at him and Thornton, Brazel, they've got some players. Squirrel White. Problem is right now, Ohio State's able to sit back because of the way that, again, that defensive front's playing.
Wide receivers split out as wide as you can get, almost sideline to sideline. And it's batted down again. Pressure, and Tuimoloau got a hand on it. Nico, everything is a struggle at the moment.
Yeah, they pulled Lance Hurd, the left tackle. Once he pulls, the guard's got to kick out there. And it's just a defensive line. It almost just feels like they're playing downhill. They're playing so fast.
Kitselman was open had they gotten the ball.
Yeah, twice now they've been able to. Second time they've been able to knock the ball away.
3rd and 10. Buckeyes not showing pressure. Rush only 3. Iamaleava is flushed. Long way to go to get there, and makes a juke. And again, scrambles for a big gain into Ohio State territory. Got through the tackle of Caleb Downs that time.
Yeah, Ohio State actually ends up using a spy right here, but I think you really underestimate this guy's ability to scramble. At 6'6", he has tremendous short area quickness as he uses right there to pick up that first down.
He's a really good athlete that he juked, with the pressure right back on him on first down, and Captain Jack Sawyer makes the play.
Really, Chris, it's both sides of the football. It's somewhat of a mismatch between the offensive line and defensive line on both sides. This time it's Sawyer, just a one-on-one matchup. Just gets the edge. It goes right around John Campbell, like he's not even there.
Sawyer, the emotion leader, his last go-around final home game. One of those veterans bent on redemption after that Michigan loss. He was involved in that ugly post-game scene. Sampson, not much there.
You know, one of the things that maybe gets overlooked because there's so much negativity following that Michigan game is the way the Ohio State defense played in that game. Really, it's played most of the year. It's a veteran defense in the 3rd year of Jim Knowles, and but I don't know if they played any faster all year than the way they're playing right now.
Didn't bring pressure on the last 3rd down play. Iamaleava making a change.
Look at the depth of the Ohio State secondary.
He took a downfield look. Now he's just trying to stay alive. Sawyer can't grab him. Iamaleava lobs it downfield into heavy traffic. Put the ball in harm's way, and it's incomplete. And 4th down again.
I think the Tennessee and Josh Heupel, they wanted an interference on Jordan Hancock, who was in coverage, and I think they probably got a case defending Squirrel White. See him grab onto the arm there. It's not in the back there against 1, it's in front against 3, Squirrel White. Definitely grabbed the arm there. What do you think? Bill, what do you think of that?
There definitely was a restriction there. That's what we want for pass interference.
Yep, grabbed onto the left arm to prevent him from working to the football.
Iamaleava still looking for his first completion tonight. We're in the final minute of the quarter, and that punt from Ross will roll into the end zone. Holly, what do you have?
Well, guys, you talked about how this Ohio State defense is playing. They have taken all the negativity very personally. Jack Sawyer told me You know, he's from around here, grew up a lifelong Buckeye fan. He's like, I couldn't even go to Roosters and Pickerington without hearing some crap about that game. They had a team meeting. They got a lot off of their chest. It was emotional, and they knew that they came back as a positive group inside this building and went to work, they would be great. They said, we can't take the Michigan game into this game with us or it's not going to go well, and you can tell they have not. Well, the folks at Roosters will be patting them on the back if this keeps up. They'll turn quickly.
Holly, what you're saying, though, you can feel from up here, and it would be just like Chip Kelly. Once he has a 21-0 lead, instead of getting conservative and working clock, even though it's early, get ready. If you're that Tennessee secondary, you're on an island. Get ready for number 4 going downfield.
And check it down to Judkins in space. It looks so easy when they get one of these speedy backs in the perimeter.
Take it all day. I mean, it's every time. There's a lot of pre-snap movement. A lot of Chip Kelly trying to create space for Henderson and Judkins. And just it's almost an extension of the running game. Just easy yards.
Judkins this time takes the handoff. Nice big crease, follows the big fellas and gets a first down to the 34.
Incredible the way the Ohio State offensive line and defensive line have played in the first quarter.
Absolute dominance by the Buckeyes in this first quarter. 21-0, looking for more. Now we'll look at how Marvel Studios' Captain America and his co-pilot Falcon use Microsoft Copilot Plus PC from Windows.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile, get it done teams, the bold breakthrough teams, and the improve people's lives teams. The more than 10,000 strong research teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
The quarterfinals begin on New Year's Eve, then a triple header on New Year's Day. AT&T bringing you the playoff bracket. Of course, the final spot on the quarterfinals at stake here. Ohio State trying to get a rematch with Oregon. That 1-point loss in Austin Stadium early in the season in Pasadena. New Year's Eve, Penn State and Boise State. Again, Notre Dame, Penn State, and Texas each picking up their first ever playoff victory in this first round. Tennessee came in with the opportunity, but in a serious hole here beginning the second quarter. First down play. Empty backfield. Now Judkins motions in, takes the handoff, and tries to cut back. Is spun down after a short gain there by Jeremiah Thielander. And stepping in for the leader of this defense, Keenan Peely, 26-year-old veteran linebacker, crushing injury. They haven't quite been the same since he was out.
No, there's a look at him right there. Just a devastating loss in week 6 against the Gators. They've had to really readjust defensively without him and his leadership there in the middle.
Have not been nearly as effective as a team stopping the run since his injury. Howard on the move, flips it short. This is Abuka, gets around the edge, scoots for another first down out to the 47, picked up 10.
Just an example of what you're talking about when it comes to the linebacker play and what they're trying to do. You know, their eyes, they got a lot of pre-snap movement, a little bit of traffic again, continuing to attack the edges. And that's the middle linebacker right there, Thielander trying to step in and not just fill the role, the communication, but the playmaking ability that Peely left when he went down.
Buckeyes 1-2 punch of receivers combining for 7 catches. Abuka with 4, Smith with 3, including the touchdown. Howard scanning, and he'll take off. He's a good north-south scrambler. Now he gets sideways and gets into Tennessee territory, picking up about 6 before Christian Harrison brought him down.
Well, the Vols do a pretty good job of dropping back and communicating on some of these crossing routes. Look at the back end. You can see Jeremiah Smith taken away. And then there again, Will Howard Chris, you said, I mean, the guy at 6'4", 235 pounds, you don't necessarily think of him as much of a scrambler, but he definitely has made some plays this year with his legs and picks up positive yards there on that first down play.
From the pocket, he's under pressure and throws it off his back foot. Low throw, incomplete. Big Omari Thomas was boring down on him.
That's what this Tennessee defense needs. We really thought the matchup in this game wasn't necessarily just about Will Howard as receivers. It was really, will Will Howard have time to throw against the Tennessee front? How will Ohio State's offensive line do? They, of course, won the first quarter. Still a long way to go. Here we go with another third down. Tennessee, some of these defensive linemen, hands on their hips, trying to catch their breath.
It's imperative. If they want to try to fight back in this game, volunteer defense needs to get off the field on this 3rd and 4. Crowding the line, bringing the pressure. Ball out quickly, but it's batted down. Howard actually catches his own pass. He takes a big shot. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down.
Well, Tennessee walked the pressure up and actually did a good job with the initial pressure in the interior. That's Carter. Once he comes, the center comes off of who he wanted to block, and amazing Will Howard makes that catch.
Ryan Day says we're not going to punt, try to pin him back. Apparently they're going to go for this near midfield. Henderson is the back. Let's see if they snap it. They will. This time, no pressure, short throw, catch made. Can he get there? Yes, the brilliant freshman just dances around the edge and keeps this drive alive.
Well, you see the motion with the Emeka Buka. Tennessee follows him here, and then Jeremiah Smith works the other way. Tennessee was anticipating that. You saw the safety come down. That was Christian Charles, but what a move after the catch to avoid Charles and then pick up that first down.
He's a special talent. They're attending to Dominic Bailey on the field. Buckeyes will have first down, Tennessee territory when you come back.
All right, let's take a look at Smarter Decisions, brought to you by Nerd.1. Man coverage by Tennessee, it's what they've lived by all year. This secondary stood up most of the year, but that's a big-time throw and a great catch by Jeremiah Smith early. The recognition, a check at the line of scrimmage by Will Howard. He saw an opportunity to get Emeka Buka behind the safety, hit it. Play design. Look at that cutback. False reads there by pulling it on the counter play, but the great read by cutting that back by Trevion Henderson. It led to another touchdown with that run there.
Anderson has the football and slips one tackle. That 10-yard pickup on 4th down puts Smith over 1,000 yards in his freshman season. Truly a special guy. 19 years old a few weeks ago. Great maturity. They say he prepares like a pro. He looks physically like a 25-year-old guy.
He does. He looks like he's in his 3rd or 4th year in the NFL. But when you get around the program, you talk to anybody, whether it's Brian Hartline, his position coach, or Ryan Day, Chip Kelly. You guys have been around some pretty special players in their day, and they all just, their eyes light up. They said, he's a better guy than a player. Hard worker, big time in the prep, super humble.
Keeper Howard gets a block on the edge, and nice play in the open field as they stop him at the 30. It's Ricky Gibson off the corner.
Yeah, these some of the catches. He really exploded on the scene this year as a true freshman, making plays like that. I mean, this guy's at the time 18 years old. Another catch right here against Iowa, just throws that right hand up there. Basically, if he's one-on-one against a corner, Ohio State has felt like nobody can stay with him. This guy's 225 pounds, moving around with that kind of body control.
Tennessee not surprised. They compared him when they studied the tape to Calvin Johnson when he was at Georgia Tech Megatron, or Randy Moss. That's a pretty good comparison for a freshman.
That's pretty good.
On 3rd down, Howard again flips it across, and there's that freshman again, and Smith makes the catch for yet another first down. Got 10 more. Holly?
Well, guys, Jeremiah Smith is just 19 years old. The thing that's even more impressive is his work ethic. He is working so hard in practice. They're actually having to monitor his GPS, and when he overloads and goes too hard, they're having to pull him back. Have you ever heard of a freshman getting pulled back because they're working too hard? That's how special this young man is.
He hates, by the way, to come out of practice when they do that.
Love to hear that.
Howard 14 of 17, approaching 200 yards. Look at the throw again, right down the middle. Battle for the ball. It's batted and intercepted. Off the pick, that was Will Brooks, who makes his 4th interception of the season. Arian Carter was way back and drifted. Howard says it's out of bounds.
Now, it's a matter, does he get that left foot down? Ball's tipped, pretty tight coverage. Here's Smith making an effort on this ball. He actually has it. Comes out of his hand late.
And did a toe hit before he was knocked off his feet by Carter there.
Here's
what you have to see.
You can see his left foot when he first possesses the ball, is the left foot still down?
The ruling on the field of an interception.
That's the question.
The previous play is under further
it's that
review.
left toe. That's going to take a further review, Bill.
The right foot doesn't touch, so it's going to come down to whether or not the left foot is still down. That's a tough angle there.
I think he's got it. It was ruled an interception on the field. So, Bill Lamagna, do you see enough there?
I don't
overturn it.
I don't see firm control with that toe.
Okay.
So I'm going to say incomplete pass.
So right there, he's got 2 hands, but in your view, he doesn't have control of the ball?
Firm control. The other thing is, I believe there should have been a pass interference call here. He just went right through him, that first defender. So
that's not reviewable. This one.
Right.
And John Bush against the ACC crew.
Boy,
I don't know. How do you define firm control? Bill?
I don't know what firm control is, but that looks like a left toe down with possession of the ball. What do you think?
What makes it firm control? I'm winding up, but I wouldn't want to know.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. That's the rule,
The ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Tennessee.
So it's a takeaway for Brooks. He's a playmaker. One time a walk-on. He's just been around the football. Just makes plays like that. He's had a couple of pick sixes this year. That was crucial for Tennessee.
That was huge. You'd see 4th interception, as you said, Chris. Guy who really has had a big-time year for an inexperienced secondary. Think about this. Tennessee started this year with 5 new defensive backs. Lost 5 great players. And they felt they were more athletic coming into this year, but they needed experience, and Brooks has been that guy.
First time we've heard Rocky Top play tonight since the Tennessee team ran out. So now, Tennessee from the 20. Iamaleava looked like a design run, took off very quickly, and leans forward for about 4.
If you're not familiar with Tennessee's offense, we talked about it briefly. They stretch you sideline to sideline with the receivers. The reason they do that is they get you as a defense to have to declare your numbers. Are you going to load up against the run or stay back against the pass? You can't do both against those formations.
Strong arm throw, and it's a completion out across the 45. Finally some rhythm there. You can hear the fans saying "brew" from McCoy.
That's his first completion of the game. And so what they think is they're going to stretch you sideline to sideline. If they get them numbers right, they want to run the football. But tonight, they just can't against this defensive line.
Again, looking to throw, crossing route, fits it into space, and from nowhere, some rhythm as Squirrel White makes the grab in the Ohio State territory in front of Hancock.
Hey, considering how this Ohio State defense has played, what a job on back-to-back throws by Nico, stepping through the throw and putting the ball right on the money.
Squirrel White, who made the catch down on the field, holding on to his right leg, helped up now. And he will hobble off. But Tennessee, off the interception in the end zone, has some life finally on the move.
Don't want to miss an upset? Just tell Siri. Show me the college football schedule.
Quarterfinals kickoff. Verbo Fiesta Bowl is New Year's Eve on ESPN. Penn State and Boise State meeting for the first time ever. Tripleheader on New Year's Day begins with the Peach Bowl. Texas and Arizona State. Oregon gets the winner here in the Rose Bowl and in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Notre Dame and Georgia. Oh, Herschel Walker had a big game against the Irish.
That's right.
The Hogs championship season. So consecutive completions for Iamaleava, 21 and 17 yards. And Tennessee, off the spark that interception by Brooks gave them, trying to finally get on the board.
Yeah, he has his first completion on this drive. Now you see the first time they've been in Ohio State territory in this game. Can they produce points as they move into plus territory?
Deshaun Bishop is the back. They have not gotten Dylan Sampson going at all. The SEC, it's incomplete. SEC Offensive Player of the Year has been held in check. Marty?
Chris, when Ohio State had the ball last, Dylan was favoring extra stretching on his left hamstring. He was on the bite trying to stay loose, and I've not yet seen him on this drive.
Yeah, he's not in there now. Cold night. You worry about things like hamstrings, but again, he's been their most consistent, reliable offensive weapon this season.
Yeah, he's had a monster year, obviously. You got to believe this is 4-down territory. See what kind of play call Josh Heupel goes with here. Does he go for the first, or does he try to get himself a little bit closer?
Protection's been an issue on 3rd down. Wallace just 1 of 4.
Bishop is a powerful back out of the backfield, can catch the ball too. Comes the blitz off to his right.
Iamaleava affected, throws it into traffic, and it's intercepted. Davison Igbeneusen. As Tyleek Williams provided the pressure, there are flags where the quarterback was hit, so hold on. And this interception is going to be taken off the board.
Number 97.
That's Kenyatta Jackson.
Automatic first down.
I know I want to ask Bill here, but I think it was the fact that he grabbed Nico as he threw it and then drove him into the ground. Ohio State brings pressure on the outside. It gets picked up, but watch 97 after the throw drive him into the ground. That's the only thing I can see, Bill. What is that?
I'm sure that's what it was called for.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that heavy of a hit.
Yeah.
He's got him wrapped up.
By the way, Bill, you see that called in the NFL all the time because of what happened to Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. They kind of made that rule to prevent that at the back of the head hitting the turf. You don't see it called in college ever. That driving into the ground is often.
Not unless it's second
late.
act.
Yeah, yes. Right.
It was a great play by Igbeneusen that's going to be nullified. Iamaleava was in the air when Jackson hit him, and kind of I don't see that.
I don't think
the passer.
Well,
neither does Ryan Day. In any case, Tennessee, who can use any break they can find right now, is in the red zone with their first down. Play fake, short throw through McCoy, sandwiched and knocked down after about a 5-yard gain.
It's just amazing to me they've had to go away from their running game. You know, when you talk about importance in a running game, this team leads the nation when it comes to play action pass. How do you run play action? You run the football to set up play action. But they've had to turn to Nico in his passing game to get this offense going.
2 receivers stacked far to the right side of the formation. A lot of time on the play clock for Iamaleava to make adjustments, and now McCoy goes over to the far left side. Second and 4. And a false start. Just when they build momentum and they pick up a nice gain on first down, they're backed up 5.
Full start offense, several players. 5-yard penalty, second down.
They're in the loudest part of this stadium as far as tonight is concerned, with the students and the students that are here in the south end zone. Watch the offensive lineman here. He's trying to communicate, make sure everybody's on the same page. He goes with the clap, and off the clap, everybody responded except the veteran center, Cooper Mays, did not snap the ball.
Three points, pretty insignificant at this stage, down 3 scores. Second and 9. Fake to Bishop. Iamaleava, miscommunication on that right side there. Chris Brazel was well covered, didn't really react to the throw, and now it's third down.
Ohio State fooled Nico that time with their coverage. That was an RPO, and thought he might hand that off. There's just nobody open. They played a trap corner with the safety. Nobody open. He's fortunate he put that on the money. That's an interception. He had to throw that one away.
4 scarlet jerseys surrounding the receiver. If it is 4-down territory, they got 2 plays to pick up the 9 here. Buckeyes dancing around on defense. Play clock at 1. Did he see it? Just got the snap off. Gets the throw off to the end zone. Incomplete. Contested there. McCoy was covered by Styles. No flag, and it's 4th down.
He stood in there against that blitz. Thought he might take off and scramble. There's the matchup on the slot. Styles really never finds the football there, but timed up his jump. Almost got in a little bit too close to McCoy, kind of that gray area. Could have been called.
Not to be flagged.
It could have been called there for sure.
So 36 yards. Max Gilbert, reliable kicker. Good freshman season, trying to get Tennessee on the board. Not what they were looking for, but they do cut into this lead. The interception by Brooks creates momentum in a 62-yard drive. 21-3 Ohio State. College football playoff first round presented by Allstate. This frigid night in the Horseshoe, historic occasion. The home team comes out throwing haymakers. Offensive explosion from the Buckeyes, a 21-0 lead. End zone interception on their last possession by Will Brooks of Tennessee. And the Volunteers drive down the field, finally getting some offensive rhythm to cut the lead to 21-3. And now, Kirk, about 6.5 to play before halftime. Tennessee gets the ball to begin the second half. What will Ohio State do?
Yeah, it's a very big 6:39. Ohio State looking to go up even bigger, and Tennessee, if they can get a stop, maybe get points, and then get the ball in second half. Could be a totally different game. So let's see what happens here in his last 6:30 to go.
Howard did kind of put the ball in a tough spot for the interception, but a tremendous first half for the Ohio State quarterback, off the heavy criticism in the Michigan loss. Yeah, took some heat early in the season when they played Oregon, and he slid down, lost track of the time situation there in the game's final play, and had some great moments too.
Meanwhile, had a lot of great moments in that game. Just came down to that one last play, but overall has played great this year for Ohio State's offense. And as you say, off to an amazing start. 14 of 18, just kind of feels that the guys around him are really playing well, and Chip Kelly's put together a heck of a plan.
Both featured running backs and the wide receivers have been superb as playmakers tonight. One of them there is Judkins, who patiently makes his way for a yard. Arian Carter got the stop.
Yeah, that's a much better job of setting the edge by Tennessee's defense. You know, Ohio State's been working those edges, whether it's a quick pass out there to a running back or a back bouncing it. So that time, much better job of Tennessee forcing him back inside.
Howard from the pocket, long throw. It's Henderson. Henderson, a terrific first half. 3 catches. He's averaging 9 yards in his 4 rushes so far. Got 8 that time.
Well, we keep talking about Chip Kelly and his plan. He clearly came into this game plan and saw something with Tennessee's defense. A lot of man coverage. When they do play zone, right now they're giving away the flat, and they're capitalizing on those chances. Is Chip Kelly looking down on things?
Very familiar with Tim Banks' defense. He was the defensive coordinator at Penn State, of course, annual opponent for Ohio State.
Look at this quad formation to the bottom.
They pitch it in the edge. This is Ibuka. And Tennessee does a great job getting around those blockers and making a play. That was James Pierce, the coveted draft prospect.
Chris, I really think the motion got the attention of Tennessee. And this is where Pierce comes from. They appear to be outmanned right here with 3 blockers. But look at Pierce chasing this down. Known as a pass rusher, but there, a good feel on 3rd and short, anticipating that throw and then chasing it down.
Another play in the Mel Kiper draft tape for James Pierce, right?
That's right. A good call.
What a play by a defensive end getting out there when they needed to get off the field.
Especially, I was going to say, the timing of that. We just mentioned the last 6:39. What's going to happen? And the Vols defense does their job with a 3 and out.
First punt for Joe McGuire, goes down and picks up a low snap, and he's got a good roll here. let the ball bounce. That was not what you want to do as a returner, and Tennessee will be pinned back. Interesting relationship, you know. Ryan Kelly has been known by Chip Kelly since Ryan was about 6 years old. Manchester, New Hampshire, you know, same high school, different year. You can see they're, you know, 17 years apart. And then at New Hampshire, he's the quarterback when Kelly is the offensive coordinator, ran a breakneck tempo. In the NFL, day twice for Chip.
Eagles and the 49ers.
And then Kelly surprises a lot of people by leaving his position as UCLA head coach. Wanted to get back and actually work with players, get out of the administrative side of being a head coach.
I think the NIL world, the transfer portal world, I think he said with the resources he had at UCLA, enough's enough. I think I just want to go back and call plays and be in the quarterback room and just be a football coach. And ended up calling Ryan Day, and they hooked up, made it happen.
It's Peyton Lewis getting a turn as Marty Smith reporting. Dylan Sampson continues to be ailing over there and doesn't get a lot of chances, the freshman, to carry the ball. Got 6 yards that time.
Pretty good start there, spinning through the traffic and getting positive yards.
Tennessee a chance here. If they could get something out of this possession, again, they'll get the football in the third quarter. A long way to go. And that's Tuimoloau knocking down Iamaleava again.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Looks like Squirrel White is headed into the locker room there with a pretty noticeable limp.
Marty reporting he was in and out of the tent twice. It was a right leg injury on that catch that he made in the last possession. See if he can go in the second half. And Sampson continues to stay in and watch.
3rd and 2. Big play here.
Option look. Iamaleava keeping all the way. Knocked down short of the first down, I thought. Let's see where they spot it. I didn't think he quite made the 31.
I'll tell you, that was an effort there. That was a complete quarterback run there, following the running back. Back there that's in right now is Lewis, who leads the way. Watch this second and third effort right there to extend across. The ball is across the line. They've moved the chains and given him the first down. One of the receivers, like Staley, not even lined up, ready to go.
You spotted it, Kirk. It was that leg drive, that lunge with the football, just enough to keep the drive going. Pitch on the edge. Braylon Staley, he's going to get a bigger role. Just one catch on the season coming in, but a freshman who's picked up steam in the 3 weeks of practice for this game.
That's right. And like you said, with Squirrel White now down, he's going to have to step up. That last play, he was looking to the sideline, not even lined up.
Mike Matthews, another freshman, Tennessee receiver in the game as well.
See Nico checking over to Josh Heupel based on the look that he's seeing from Ohio State, trying to get into the right call here on 2nd and 3.
You got the helmet communication. Now they shut it down. Lewis is in the backfield again. He's got the football. You got, all of a sudden, Kirk, with these injuries to the veterans, true freshmen, Tennessee having to step in and play roles at skill positions.
Yeah, you're starting to see some guys that haven't played a ton of football, but right now, offensive line are going to get the 2-minute timeout just before the snap there. But that offensive line this drive, feel like they're getting a little bit of a better push than they have most of the drives they've had so far tonight.
Tennessee on their back foot finally has some traction here. 2 minutes to play in the first quarter, or the first half.
Welcome back to Columbus. You see Tennessee running back, the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Dylan Sampson, continuing to work during the break. You see the exasperation on his face there, trying to get it, what appeared to me to be a left hamstring tightness. He was on the bike trying to get loose, and as he was working through that after several revolutions, it looked like he was trying hard to loosen up that left hamstring, and right now he's still on the sideline, Chris.
You got 2 carries so far for Sampson. That's it for 6 yards. Yeah, they had 13 explosive plays this year of 20+ yards. Iamaleava finds Brew McCoy. If Sampson can't be an impact player tonight, how does that change what Tennessee's doing on offense?
Well, it's everything. He's been such an integral part of this offense and his style and just really the feel with this offensive line. So they have other talented backs, but he's just been the guy all year for this offense. Right now, Nico appears to be getting into some rhythm in his passing game, despite the pressure that he's been facing most of this first half.
Didn't have a completion in the first quarter. Now 5 for 12, under pressure again. Shows the speed to get to the edge. It'll pump fake, Mahomes style. Nobody really fooled, but he picks up a nice gain there.
You know, Ohio State came into this game and they had great appreciation for his ability to get out and create. It's a big thing that they wanted to do is prevent him from getting outside at 6'6" and covering ground to pick up yards and make throws on the run.
So this crucial drive for Tennessee before the half to cut into this lead continues. Imaliava, high throw, put his receiver there in harm's way. Sonny Styles delivered a big blow.
Look at the eyes of Imaliava and try to imagine who you're going to throw the football to. You got a receiver open to the left, but he's looking right. Now he starts to scramble. Nobody's able to get off of anybody. So even in zone, Ohio State very sticky on the back end when he's getting out. The reason he's scrambling and running, normally he'd scramble to throw, is Ohio State very tight coverage when he's getting out of and trying to find somewhere to go with the football.
You'd think they want to account for him as a runner here now in this 3rd and 6 from the pocket. Throws it into traffic. The catch is made by Miles Kitselman, the tight end, close to the marker.
Boy.
Don't think it's going to be quite enough. It's going to be 4th and short.
I think he predetermined he's going to throw that football. There were 3 Ohio State defenders all around Kitselman there, but he squeezed it in for a 4th and short.
Playing with tempo and quick burst. Deshaun Bishop, the number 2 back in this roster, an elevated role now with Sampson over there, converts.
Yeah, he came close to pulling out of there. There's nobody left. Ohio State almost in that goal line defense on that 4th and half of a yard. If he pulls out of that tackle by Caleb Downs, he's to the house for a touchdown.
As it is, they're inside the 30, minute even to go. Tennessee has all 3 timeouts. Another throw underneath. Catch made, and escaping the tackle is Dante Thornton, the big playmaker, finally gets involved tonight, picks up 14.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I looked over at the stats to make sure. Yeah, he's not had a catch yet until this throw right here. These corners soft, and Nico with this quick game, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, gets the ball to the big number 1, 6'5" receiver. It's the nice work after the catch.
Red zone. Can they get 7 here? Buckeyes among the best in the country. Red zone defense. And another pass batted down by Short. He was thinking pick 6.
He was. Second time that he individually has been able to knock a ball down, in the 3rd for Ohio State. Remember, this guy's 6'6". Nico's 6'6", throwing his football. And once again, Sawyer knows already he can't get there. But man, is he good at timing up and knocking that ball away. And you're right, he got both hands on it. He was thinking about pick 6.
Number 1 defense in red zone touchdown percentage. Opponents only scored 35% getting into the end zone on these red zone possessions. That's Tennessee's chore right now on 2nd and 10. Imaliava's going to run quarterback draw, and he's still fighting. Showing the strength in those long legs. Heupel spends a timeout. It'll be 3rd and short now.
This kid's showing a lot of heart tonight, considering they're down 21, going up against a defense that's playing the way they are. That's a design QB draw. That's the confidence that they have. He's going to go right behind 18 Bishop. Crowded defense. You see the linebackers up, but look at again the effort. They're trying to strip the ball. This kid's busy trying to get extra yards and fights for another 2 or 3. It's rare to see this kind of quickness. Good job of covering up, protecting the ball. A guy 6'6", I think it goes back to his days of playing volleyball. He was an elite volleyball player, and I really think it helps how he plays the game of football when he takes off to run. That short area quicks, very, very unique for a guy at 6'6".
Ball still with 2 timeouts and 42 seconds before halftime. The Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Reese, Joey, Dez, recap what we've seen in other 2 playoff games today. Little T for the voice for Dez down there.
Absolutely.
Can Tennessee cut into this lead and get the football to begin the 2nd half? Huge moment in this game. They've been reeling from the heavy blows thrown by the Buckeyes so far tonight.
And remember, red zone hasn't been a strength for these guys most of the year. Self-inflicted wounds like you're talking about with penalties and drops and get behind the sticks. Here they got a real shot at 3rd and 2. 42 seconds, and there's still the 2 timeouts.
Yeah, they've kicked 12 field goals in the red zone. That's way too many. Need to break that trend here. 3rd and 2.
Pressure here from Sonny Styles.
Option look, keeper Yamaliava has a 1st and goal. Knocked down. I'll stop the clock momentarily for the chains. Let's see if he spends another timeout here. 36 seconds to go.
Yeah, the speed option there. This guy continues to show his toughness and grit as a quarterback. Highly touted in this era of the world of NIL, and this guy's showing what he's all about.
And Bishop spins out of 1 tackle, slammed down to the 2. This is one of the hardest things in college football, to get the ball into the end zone against this Buckeye defense from in close, right?
Yeah, best in the country at defending it. Take a lot of pride in their goal line stands. This will be tough to run the football in against Ohio State. Josh Heupel knows that better than anybody. And he's got a quarterback right now that's not only has a hot hand throwing it, but he's obviously doing a lot of damage with his feet as well.
At goal-to-go defense, they'll put 6 defensive linemen in there sometimes. Big stand against Penn State to really win that game. They had one against Indiana. Played it tough against Michigan before eventually the chip shot field goal beat them. But those are good things to be first in the country in right there.
Well, especially in this game, we keep talking about 21-3, 24 seconds, the 1 timeout. Tennessee, how big of a deal is this to be down 21 in this environment, to get the field goal, to stop the bleeding, chance to maybe get a touchdown and then get the ball to start the second half.
You pointed out this is the one part of this place where there aren't any fans in orange. It's all scarlet down in that end zone. Man, trying to get about 7 feet of real estate against that Buckeye defense. Been a serious challenge for opponents all year.
QB run a factor. He's already carried it 12 times tonight.
Bishop is to his right. Iamale out a straight keeper, cuts back and scores. Tennessee punches back. In the final minute of the first half, dominated by Ohio State, Tennessee grinds it out, Kirk. 16-play touchdown drive.
Josh Heupel's going to be very proud of his team here to finish this one off. Just an outside stretch play that normally you would give this to a running back, but like I said before the snap, it's his 13th carry here in the first half. We're in the first half. This guy's had to carry it 13 times. It gives him 1 extra blocker when you can run the quarterback, especially down inside that 10-yard line.
You don't think about Josh Heupel and basically the most basic offensive play in football. Quarterback, keeper.
Right, right.
And that was a featured part of that drive, a crucial drive to cut the lead to 11.
He goes off to the right here. It's like just a stretch play. I'll point out for Tennessee fans that Dane Davis is in the game for Campbell. He does a nice job. They're just trying to stretch it, and then find the crease. He sees it. Pretty natural, instinctive runner for a quarterback. Gets behind that block of 66, so I just mentioned Davis, and there's that toughness. This kid has been hit a lot in his first half.
You said hard. That's a great word. This guy had his helmet split wide open. Like the first offensive series of the game, he was pressured constantly. Hadn't completed a pass in the first quarter, and they come alive in the last couple possessions.
Yeah, Josh Heupel comes over to say good job to him. Well, this really sets up for a heck of a second half, considering how it started. I feel like Ohio State was running away with it. The ball showing that toughness and the backbone to fight back. Put themselves in a position to make this a football game.
Tuberville boots it. And touchback.
The other thing is it's the crowd noise, which was deafening, favoring Ohio State. They had all the momentum, all the energy. You know, you get 10 points, settles things down as far as the stadium now. The first 15 minutes, this place was unglued.
Don't forget the play by Pierce. He came off the defensive end spot on that funky formation to make the stop on 3rd and short. Force the punt to give Tennessee the opportunity to get the football back and cut into this lead.
It's a good point. A guy that's known for his pass rushing abilities really improved as a run defender, and that was a huge play.
Yamaliov on that drive, 4 for 5 as a passer. Ran it 6 times, including the touchdown. Henderson hurdles a man and goes out across the 40. And a 15-yard gain means Ohio State's going to spin a timeout.
Am I the only one that every time tonight 32 gets his hands on the ball, you're holding your breath? Like, what? This guy just feels like when he gets out in the open field, look out. He goes up and over Brooks, the safety, who missed him earlier on a touchdown run.
Again, it's the 2-back system that they've had here, which keeps these guys fresh. And Kirk, just watching him practice the other day, you know, after a grinding season, sometimes a running back can feel it. They've had a few weeks to recover since the Michigan game. Both guys look so lively and so fresh. Holly?
Well, guys, they are fresh. That's for a couple of reasons. One, they decided to huddle this season and take some of the plays off the plate of this offense, which they have. But Travion Henderson got a call from his head coach, Ryan Day. He said, hey, this kid from Ole Miss, Quinshon Judkins, wants to come here. How would you feel about that? And Travion said, whatever is best for the team. They've taken carries off each other, made each other better, and the guys told me the energy in our running back room is infectious.
So let's see how they're 40-yard line. 15 seconds. Howard's been successful pressing the ball downfield, and instead throws it short. And catch on the sidelines made by the tight end Scott. Now 11 seconds to go.
Tennessee tilting their defense, of course, to Jeremiah Smith. They had it covered underneath. He actually went vertically downfield. Had a safety back there, Turrentine there, step for step, trying to keep number 4 away from making a huge play here with the last 11 seconds.
See the field goal line there. Jaden Fielding, not known as a long-range kicker. They got to get the ball to the 30, so maybe 25 more yards on a cold night to feel good about it. There's a lot of space in the middle. Henderson picks up a chunk and gets down near field goal range. 5 seconds to go. You still have a timeout. Picked up 15 more yards. Just not quite in range. You've seen a lot of guys in college football who can connect from 54, 55 yards. Fielding has not been able to do that.
Well, here's again, look at the coverage. This is Will Howard's experience. He knows he's just trying to get into field goal range right away. It's almost a design play. Instead of looking downfield and checking it down, that's a design. Everybody goes deep. Let me just flip this. It's almost like a screen. Get it to Henderson. I keep talking about when this guy gets into the open field, he's electrifying and eats up a lot of yards. What a night he is having so far in this first half, running the football, averaging 10 yards a touch running, and also even receiving. What is he at? 4 catches and 54 yards. So already over 100 yards from the line of scrimmage tonight.
Well, here's the man fielding you. After a couple of misses against Michigan, he was 9 for 10 in the season till he missed 2 field goals inside 40 yards in that game. Had to battle for his job. It was a competition in practice between he and Austin Snyder. They tried to put him under all kinds of pressure situations. He does not get the chance to try long field goals very often. And this from 56 yards, by far the longest of his career. This direction pre-game, the ball was traveling better, but that one really had no chance. And so Ohio State comes up empty on that possession, and Josh Heupel's team will get the football first to begin the second half. It was 21-0 for Ryan Day's Buckeyes. Now it's an 11-point game. Holly?
Well, Coach Day, you wanted to get off to a fast start. What was the key to that for you, particularly the first shot to Jeremiah Smith?
Well, yeah, I thought early on we got in a good rhythm throwing the ball. Defense got some good stops. You know, they just kind of took it down the field right there, so they got the ball to start the second half. We have to come out and get a good stop, win the first 4 minutes.
They're starting to hurt you with the quarterback run. How do you stop the momentum with Nico?
We're going to knock back the line of scrimmage. You know, they had a Q draw, and then they had a couple of those stretch runs, so we're going to knock knock the line of scrimmage back and tackle better.
Thank you, Coach. Marty Smith, let's go to you.
Coach, a critical touchdown there to close the half for you guys. What statement was just made?
Yeah, we didn't start very well, but continued to play, made some plays, both sides of the ball, 30 more minutes of football. Got to do a better job on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball.
Any indication why we only saw a couple carries from Dylan Sampson?
Nah, a lot of football left here. We got 30 more minutes. Let's go play.
Thanks, Coach.
No injury update provided there by Heupel.
No, sir. No, sir.
They gave up more yards in the first half than they typically gave up in an entire game. So work to do on the Tennessee defensive side. Mercedes-Benz halftime report is coming up right after these messages. You're watching the College Football Playoff first round presented by Allstate.
Welcome to the Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Ohio State with a 21-10 lead on Tennessee. Glad to have you with us, Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, and Joey Galloway. I mean, you want to talk about coming out and absolutely opening up a can for about a quarter and a half. Ohio State just flat did that and dominating this game.
They look faster, they look stronger.
They did.
And it looks like Tennessee's playing in the cold.
Yes.
And Ohio State is not. The weather doesn't matter to Ohio State, and the way they came out. And give Chip Kelly some credit in this play calling. He decided to be aggressive, go downfield, big throw by Will Howard here. Will Howard was 17 of 21 in the first half. When we talked about getting off to a fast start, the Ohio State offense did that, going down the field for big plays. This is what was missing in their last game.
Yeah.
It's missing when they lost on this same field. They didn't go down the field. They didn't make these kind of plays. And right now they are warm, and they look like the better team.
Yeah.
For about a quarter and a half, and the Tennessee woke up a little bit, but when you run the ball like this and make these kind of plays, the Tennessee defense is off balance. The play calling's been terrific, the pass is working, and the run is working.
Yeah, Chip Kelly was in his bag. There's no doubt about that. But so was Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator. They dominated up front. Their front seven put so much pressure on Nico Iamaleava that they could not get anything going for a quarter and a half. I was surprised that Josh Heupel didn't move him off the spot, move the pocket a little bit. He's an athletic quarterback. Get him on the edges. They let him sit back there like a person just waiting for the rush to come to him. But guys, that's pretty much what they ended up doing. And Tennessee scored the last 10 points in the first half. And Tennessee gets the ball first in the second half. And maybe we got a ball game in the second half here in Columbus.
Yes, sir.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Ohio State hoping to add to that trophy room before the end of this playoff, up 21-10 on Tennessee. A theme in this college football playoff, the home teams in every game have built a lead of at least 20 points. Ohio State did it here tonight. Texas did it against Clemson, but Clemson just kept fighting back against the Longhorns. It was 31-10 at one point, now 31-17. Cade Klubnik, there's a lot of time left. The Austin native to TJ Moore, 31-24, but here's how you answer. 2 plays, Jaden Blue, 77.
And Texas ran for 292 yards in this game, and it was a difference. This play closes out the game for Texas.
Crazy that they gave away an explosive at that point in the game, too, and they were just coming back. Hey, they had a goal line stand, too, that made it a 14-point game. That was important to some. Penn State and SMU, whiteout conditions, and Kevin Jennings and the Mustangs completely overmatched. Dom DeLuca, Desmond, pick 6.
Yeah, I tell you what, Penn State's defense came to play. Kevin Jennings, they didn't know what hit them from the word go. And then after that, Katron Allen in the offense, they just took over.
Penn State built that 21-0 lead. SMU didn't get back in it. And James Franklin and the Nittany Lions are moving on. They'll take on the 3-seed Boise State in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. That is on New Year's Eve. Penn State a double-digit favorite in that game. Texas takes on Arizona State. Texas lower seed double-digit favorite. Winner of our game will get Oregon in the Rose Bowl and Notre Dame and Georgia all set. That will be a tighter spread. Second half adjustments when you come back to Columbus.
All right, Ryan, look forward to it. Now, Tennessee's got problems. Down 11. Dylan Sampson's banged up. Squirrel White, Dante Thornton, too. Yeah. What adjustments in the second half?
I think since Dylan Sampson's, he's questionable to return, you're going to have to run the quarterback more like he was doing in the second quarter, but also get the quarterback on the edge. He needs to get Nico on the edge to throw the ball so he can run or have that option.
Ohio State's playing zone on the back end, and Nico is literally having trouble figuring out where to go with the football. We've seen him throw a couple in the dirt. He's having trouble reading the defense, has to figure that out if they're going to continue to throw the ball down the field.
Biggest possession of the game was when Tennessee went down 21-3, got a touchdown. Now the biggest one is coming with his first possession of the second half. Ohio State's a great start. Jeremiah Smith, brilliant. Buckeyes built a big lead. Can they hang on and move on to the Rose Bowl? Second half is coming.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Welcome back. The College Football Playoff first round presented by Allstate. Set for the second half here in the frozen horseshoe in the banks of the old Tangi. 22 degrees. Ohio State jumped to a 21-0 lead. And Tennessee battles back. The Ohio State offense extremely productive in that first quarter, incredibly productive. Slowed down a bit in the second quarter. The big takeaway by Will Brooks in the end zone. The interception turned things around. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, trying our best to stay warm. Tennessee was frigid themselves. Nico Imalivava showed a ton of guts. He got him back in the game. But unless Dylan Sampson can come back, what are they going to do offensively? Well, cut this lead further.
That's a fair concern. I mean, Sampson, you're talking about the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. But we're seeing something in the last couple times Tennessee had the ball where they've been able to not just rely on him throwing, but obviously his ability to run the football. He's playing with an edge tonight, which is giving the balls some hope, a chance to get back in a game. There's Sampson right there, who appears to be moving around pretty good. So we'll see if he's able to play here in this second half. That would be a big lift for this offense because they sure need number 6.
Again, 7 straight games against SEC opponents. He had 100 yards. And he's been a driving force. Well, never got going at all. Just a couple carries in the first half.
Again, you're talking about an offense that relies on the RPO, run pass option, and play action. And in order for that to be effective, your entire offense, not only do you need him to run, but you need him to be able to be a threat as a runner to set up the RPO and to set up the play action. So yeah, they've not been able to get their receivers involved much at all, and even in their efforts to come back in this game. So see what Josh Heupel can do to try to get this offense going as they start the second half with the football.
Peyton Lewis back to receive the kick. And he'll give it a try from the 2-yard line. First kickoff return tonight. And gets it out across the 25. Marty Book, can you tell us about the Volunteers' injury situation?
They are mounting, Chris. I just heard you guys talking about Dylan Sampson. He does have a lower body injury. He's questionable to return. Same goes for Squirrel White and Dante Thornton. It looks like Dante Thornton is going to try to give it a go, but he's a little banged up too. Josh Heupel told me at halftime here that they have to control the line of scrimmage. They had a couple busts early defensively, but he's okay with where they are right now.
Big Smarty saw Sampson come into the huddle, but then he tried it back to the sidelines before this first series, and it's going to be Deshaun Bishop and a tailback to begin. As Tennessee tries to build the momentum they got late in that second quarter, and there's a nice first down carry by Bishop, the 200-pounder from Knoxville.
Really good job because Tyleik Williams had come off his blocker. Looked like it was Jackson Lampley. He was able to shed him, but heck of a job of using a vision to get upfield.
And some use of tempo by Heupel on 2nd and 5. Nico tripped up as he tried to escape the pocket, falls forward, and sets up a 3rd and 1.
Yeah, continue to be just blown away by what this guy is doing. And by the way, heck of an effort there by 33 Sawyer to trip him up while laying on his back.
And it's not easy to convert on 3rd and short against Ohio State. I think Bishop has just enough, and they get the drive going, immediately using more tempo than we've seen all night.
Yeah, that's a big part, obviously, what they do as an offense. You see more and more offenses in college football doing this, but Josh Heupel is one of the guys that really loves to crank up when they're in their flow, they're feeling good. It's running the football, wide formations, and attacking.
Tennessee, usually one of the fastest in the country, especially in Heupel's early years. Not in the top 20 this year in terms of seconds between plays. 24 seconds was the average between plays. They can still crank it, but they don't make a habit of it as much.
There's Bubba Lampley. My twins, Jake and Ty, actually went to high school with him in Montgomery Bell Academy down in Nashville, Tennessee. He's getting a chance to play with Spraggins now down.
Play fake, pitch to the edge, low throw, and it's incomplete. Trying to find Chris Brazel over there. Manuson in coverage, and it's third down and 7 now.
These receivers continue to struggle against Ohio State on the back end. Unable to get separation. They've been averaging on these third downs throughout this entire game. They're averaging 3rd and 8. Long way to go and tough way to sustain drives.
Another volunteer, that's Bishop, down on one knee, slow to get up, and he'll be helped off. Things are getting very thin at running back and receiver for the Volunteers.
No doubt. Even the offensive line. Just mention Spraggins is out of the game.
Sometimes the cold can come into effect, right? You feel those bumps and bruises. It's tough to get areas of the body like the hamstring loosen up. That apparently is Sampson's issue. Going back to Lewis, the freshman here on this 3rd and 7.
Mention how Lampley is in. He's at right guard. Watch this matchup here on this 3rd down. See how he holds up in pass protection.
Jim Knowles brought a lot of pressure early in this game, less so in the second quarter, I would say. See if he dials it up here. They begin to lean forward. It is a blitz. It's an option on the edge. And look at the play made in space there beautifully by Lathan Ransom, one of the veterans in this defense. They lose 5.
Ohio State not fooled at all with this play call. They bring pressure here, and there's Lathan Ransom right there on the outside. Really good feel, eyes in the backfield, ready for that pitch. Gets off the potential block of John Campbell and into the backfield to make that play.
Talked about this core of veterans on this Ohio State defense, guys who came back for this run, playing their final game here. And he is one of the guys, along with Sawyer and others, who have really stepped up. It's a shank punt off the side of the foot. Brandon Innes, the returner, sprints way up there and tries to help the officials spot the ball. And Buckeyes get off the field. Just a 31-yard punt.
Welcome back to Columbus. Ohio State got off to such a terrific start, one of their best first quarters of the season. This sideline was sky high. Guys were exuberant, high-fiving. They were so excited, but things have kind of settled down. They've got to get some of their defensive intensity back. After that 3rd down stop right there, they had some juice return to this sideline, but they need to go on an extended drive here, start gaining some momentum on offense again.
Buckeyes trying to get their offensive rhythm back, meanwhile, from the 35. Henderson off the left side. He's going to be dropped just about the line of scrimmage by Jeremiah Thielander.
Boy, what a job here by Thielander. Watch where he comes from to be able to work from the backside and chase his play down. Tremendous instincts and vision that time by the middle linebacker. Ohio State receivers Smith and Ibuka, first quarter 125 yards combined. That's in the first quarter. Second quarter, a little more conservative. Only 3 catches combined for 30 yards.
2nd and 10. Howard from the pocket. Checks it down across the middle. Used G. Scott, the tight end, a few times tonight. Except again, that'll set up a 3rd down and about 3.
Yeah, they went 12 personnel, meaning 1 running back and 2 tight ends. These receivers get so much attention from Tennessee, opening up the middle for the tight ends. They don't use Scott that often. 16 catches on the year, so time Will Howard finding him, picking up some big yards there, and then we got 3rd and short.
Howard on the move. Short pitch. Nice catch in rhythm by Emeka Egbuka. First down midfield.
Yeah, they used that a little bit of a rub route there. Carnell Tate using motion to eventually put himself right where he needed to be to bring the defender with him in man-to-man coverage. That's a really good call by Ryan Day to get him out. See the defender trying to catch up. That's Ricky Gibson, the corner, but he had to work through a little bit of traffic himself that time. So it was perfectly executed on 3rd and short.
I mentioned the receivers, Kirk, each with 5 catches for 81 yards. Egbuka and Smith at the moment. Smith has the touchdown that started the game. Henderson beginning to lock in on him a little bit better. That's the big Amari Thomas who drags him down after a 2-yard gain.
Well, he's had a great year, kind of the leader up front. 6'4", 325 pounds. Time just was in the middle of a stunt, but got his eyes in the backfield like a linebacker would. And was able to work down the line of scrimmage and eventually make that tackle. Tennessee has 5 different defenders checking in after this last play, trying to stay fresh in this game.
Howard fakes the pitch and now throws it down the middle in stride, and it's the tight end Scott again, making a big impact tonight. First down at the Tennessee 22.
Again, they're just not locating him. Here he is, just working on a little corner route. Look at the defenders. Look how they sink in here up tight, but nobody taking the pressure off this defense. You know, there's nothing really holding him there in the flat. Surprised you had 2 defenders in the flat. Nobody with their eyes to consider Scott. He makes his 2nd catch of this drive.
Not a defense that gives up a lot of chunk plays in the air. Buckeyes have 4 looking for a fair touchdown end zone. Jeremiah Smith, his 2nd tonight. Sensational playoff debut for this freshman. What a throw.
Yeah, I was going to say, they got him isolated one-on-one against Tennessee's best corner, Jermon McCoy, 3, but he was in pretty good position, but the ball is perfectly thrown over the outside shoulder to Jeremiah Smith. Really nothing McCoy could do.
And in barely 3 minutes, Ohio State zips down the field 65 yards in 6 plays and reestablishes firm control of this game. Tennessee had momentum, as Ryan Day acknowledged going to the break. But the Buckeye defense gets a stop. The offense reignited and the lead back to 18.
That's exactly what Ohio State wanted to see. And this is what Will Howard wanted to see, is his top receiver one-on-one. Like I said, not terrible coverage, but he had a step on him. But look how perfectly this football is dropped over that outside shoulder for the touchdown again to Jeremiah Smith.
Verbo is giving you the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 CFP National Championship on January 20th and $15,000 in one-key cash. Scan the QR code to enter.
Strikes quickly here early 3rd quarter to rebuild the lead to 18. Jeremiah Smith now has touchdown receptions early in the first half and early in the second half. This from 37 yards to get things going. Eventually it was 21-0. Trevion Henderson scoots into the end zone before Tennessee battled back. This cut it to 11 at halftime. But the 2nd touchdown from Smith. Howard 4 for 4 on that drive.
It's the risk you take, yeah. This is the risk you take when you leave the true freshman Jeremiah Smith on an island. He's going to make plays, especially with the way Will Howard right now is locked in with his accuracy. He's getting protection. And when he has protection with his weapons, man, they're dangerous and tough to stop.
Talked about the ups and downs for Howard in this season. More ups and downs, frankly, but how would he respond to the interception? They were trying to go up 28-0. Since that pick, 7 for 7, 93 yards in that touchdown.
Yeah, you can see him smiling there. He's just been through a lot, man. When you're the head coach or the quarterback at Ohio State, and especially the expectations to win every game, that's kind of the modern world of the Ohio State world that Ryan Day inherited from Urban Meyer, and it can get hot. And it can not only get hot for Ryan Day, it can get hot for the quarterback when he throws 2 picks against Michigan obviously, he's going to take a lot of it. Boys, he responded very, very well. And there's Dylan Sampson. Good to see him back in the lineup. See if he can have any impact here.
Down 18. The SEC's top offensive player catches the ball in the flat, scoots out of bounds. Not many running backs lately have won that award. You go back to over the years. I mean, guys like Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, Heisman Trophy winners won the same award he won this season. QBs have a kind of hammerlock on it, right?
Let's think of those names.
Yeah.
Pretty good company.
Drew McCoy makes the catch, driven back immediately by Jermaine Matthews, a corner who rotates in on this defense.
Yeah, really tight coverage there out of sophomore out of Winton Woods down in Cincinnati. Quick reactions, really drove down on that throw on the receiver. Here's Tennessee again, 3rd down.
Sound system tells you it's 3rd down. They need 6 here.
They move Tuimolo out and Sawyer on the same side over here on the, and now he's coming back. He's kind of messing around with the offensive line.
Yep, they end up not bringing pressure. Iamaleava stands flat-footed, scanning, and now escapes the pocket. Makes a cut, elusive move, gets through that tackle, and gets the 1st down. Tuimolo had a chance to corral him and whiffed.
Yeah, we were talking about him possibly being there as a pass rusher, but he's just a spy. I mean, that tells you about his athletic ability, but in the open field, what a move. Iamaleava really all game is keeping this offense alive with some of these scrambles.
This time looking to throw. And again eludes a tackler at 6'6". You don't usually see a guy kind of that twitchy. He's a long strider, but Kirk, in short space, he's pretty quick.
Yeah. Again, I go back to volleyball, thinking how much that helped him. Watch the instincts, too, as a ball carrier. Ball's out away, puts it away in the left arm, trying to get it away from the potential would-be tacklers. So just right now, doing everything he can, like I said, to give the balls a chance. Nobody's necessarily winning on the outside, so he's having to carry a lot of the load.
Nico shovel pass into serious traffic. Wow. I guess he thought he saw an opening there. Tuimolo made the tackle.
With the way Ohio State is playing, they're just sitting back with their defensive backs. Look how deep they are typically with the safeties back. I mean, Ohio State is saying they're almost begging Tennessee to run the football. When a defense gives you this look against this offense, Tennessee normally they're running the football every single down to get them out of this look, but instead the defensive line from Ohio State really handling Tennessee's offensive line to allow Ohio State to play that style of defense.
They need 4 from the pocket. Ball batted down yet again. That was Cody Simon, that stud middle linebacker, one of the leaders of this defense. Made the play. It's 4th down.
Well, Chris, watch how Cody Simon does a nice job here of just kind of reading the eyes of the quarterback. He's staring at his receiver. So eventually he just timed it up. 4th time we've seen a ball batted away close to the line of scrimmage.
Wonder if Heupel thought about it for a second. He sends out the punt team, though. Brandon Innes is the returner for the Buckeyes deep. So 2 possessions here after halftime when they had cut into the lead, and the Ohio State defense gets stops. Innes decides to field it, and he is hit immediately at 18-yard line. 6:04 in the 3rd. Ohio State back to work offensively, up 18. Up in the NBA on Christmas Day. 5 games on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ABC. Knicks and Spurs at noon. Special animated version of the game on ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. Rivals like the Sixers and the Celtics, Lakers and the Warriors, Nuggets and the Suns. What is that like? That's going to be about 12, 14 hours of basketball Christmas Day.
If you're an NBA fan, that's a lot. 5 games.
I am, but that is a lot on Christmas Day.
There's NFL football too on Christmas Day.
Judkins takes the handoff and cuts back into some space. Picks up about 3 or 4 in first down.
He's thinking, finally, Trevion's getting most of the carries tonight. Let me get my chance to get loose and get an opportunity to make a big play.
Former Buckeye Andre Turrentine played here in the 21 season. Made the tackle for Tennessee. Well, there's urgency has returned with the Volunteers falling down 18 again. And the big ask of this defense is to make a play here. Spark this team the way they did in the first half with the interception in the end zone. But they get gashed in the ground game as Judkins spins for a first down out to the 30.
Chabola, the right guard, who's pretty heavily criticized after the Michigan game, does a really nice job of opening this up along with Hinsman. You know, this offensive line, once they lost the center, Seth McLaughlin, really the alpha, went out with an Achilles injury, which just was devastating for him. The transfer from Alabama, and Ohio State had to reshuffle their offensive line, playing much better tonight.
Judkins gets the pitch on the edge and cannot escape the tackle of Will Brooks that time, but another solid gain. Chip Kelly will take that on first down every time.
Yeah, and this is just a little thing, but for people at home, this is what Chip Kelly's doing. He's showing this move, which normally would tell a linebacker to run this way, and then he's going the other direction. So the defense sees those offensive linemen pulling. It's a false read for the for the linebackers, and then Chip Kelly just trying to get them out of position, and quick 5 yards going the other way.
Talk to Kelly and Day about their relationship. More about that in a second as Howard has the keeper and rambles out to the 45. You know, it's interesting. It's almost like a family member. Like Kelly's like an uncle. I said, well, that must be comfortable. He said, yes, but it can also be a little bit tricky, but it's a professional relationship. And the last game didn't go well. And
right.
I said, well, he said, it'll be fun if we get the win. Day said. Back to fun,
right.
Working together if they get the win.
Yeah. I don't even know if we can quantify the amount of stress that Ryan Day has been under since that Michigan game. His family has been under. You know, they've had to do it. He's had to do a ton of interviews. He's had to address it. He was on game day this morning talking about it.
Catch made and dragging the tacklers. Kasmarek, the tight end. He was on game day, so was a sign that said Ryan's last day right over his shoulder as he was on the set.
Not only that, as we're in the middle of talking to him, and there were a lot of Tennessee fans out there, but they were chanting, "You're fired," as he was answering questions loud.
Were they all Tennessee fans or some Ohio State fans?
No idea who it was. He could hear it.
Being attended to on the field is Elijah Simmons back behind the play, and we'll take a break. Ohio State on the move again. Ohio State trying to make it 4 for 4 for the home teams in this first round of on-campus games. Again, Oregon awaits in Pasadena New Year's Day, 32-31. The Ducks got past Ohio State, a thrilling back-and-forth game, and Ohio State highly motivated to not only just win this game, but get a chance at the Ducks and keep their dream alive of one of the all-time comebacks, as Ryan Day frames it, from the loss to Michigan to potentially winning a national championship.
Both backs in the game.
Return and hand it to Henderson, who lowers his shoulder, ran through a tackler, and has a first down at the Tennessee 42.
The way this second half started with Ohio State's defense kind of setting the tone, getting the ball back to Will Howard. He throws a touchdown pass to Jeremiah Smith, kind of killing the will a little bit of Tennessee. Now they get the ball back. Now they're starting to possess the ball. Offensive line has played so well tonight, starting to lean on Tennessee and the depth of this defensive line. They're getting them tired.
Elijah Simmons helped off, really favoring his left leg on the sidelines. Judkins is now in the back. They fake it to him. Howard looking to push the ball downfield. Another beautiful throw. Running the crossing route was Carnell Tate. He gets involved with an 18-yard gain.
Yeah, everybody up and near the line of scrimmage. When you're up near the line of scrimmage, including the safeties, you'll see Will Brooks, 35, trying to come back right there to try to defend the throw, but it's too late. Once again, Will Howard the time. In rhythm, couple hitches, perfect strike to Carnell Tate. He's now 22 of 27 in the game.
And looking to throw to the end zone. Potential hat trick for Jeremiah Smith. It was covered by Jermod McCoy. That's good on good there. There's a flag on the play.
Flag opposite side.
Illegal substitution, more than 11 players on the field, defense. 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Yeah, Boo Carter was trying to come onto the field, the freshman that plays nickel. He started to run out onto the field. There's some confusion. Then he worked himself back. He's now starting to go back up there at the top.
There were sticklers there. He's about a yard in the field when it was snapped. He didn't sprint off.
No, but how about Will Howard? Getting into the plus territory. You're going to leave Jeremiah Smith one-on-one. I'll take that shot. Here it is again.
This time he hits, he throws, just tries again, and that's going to be pass interference in the end zone. McCoy, again, trying to shut down Smith in the red zone here, draws the flag.
Pass interference, defense number 3. Automatic first down.
The secondary was a preseason concern for this Tennessee team. They actually played pretty well this season, but tonight's a tough one.
Yeah, and McCoy, when he's out there now on islands, because of the respect he's learning about Smith, he's starting to sink as soon as the ball is snapped, because he knows that more than likely Will Howard's going to see there's not a safety over top, and he's going to take a shot every time he can if Smith is all alone. Back-to-back plays, he tried to get that matchup and take his shot.
First and goal now at the 4. Ohio State trying to build a lead that would be very, very hard to overcome in the fourth quarter. Under center, on the move, Howard flips it, and reaching the football for the pylon. Judkins spotted out at the 1, couldn't quite extend that football across the plane.
Boy, so close. I love how quick hitting this play is. No hesitation at all coming out of the backfield. Doesn't quite reach the pylon and try to reach the goal line there, but how about trying to defend that? How fast Judkins slips out of the backfield.
I feel about 14 personnel, Kirk. There's four tight ends in the game. Judkins lined up behind one of them in the I formation. So Josh Heupel, you know, a lot to be proud of the way his team responded. They were getting pummeled early in the game. Cut the lead 21-10 at halftime, but everything that had to happen for Tennessee at the beginning of this half didn't happen.
No, they had the ball to start this second half and obviously could not get anything going. To Ohio State's credit, they came out with an aggressive approach. You know, they got the ball, especially getting the plus territory. Will Howard, he's been well taught this week that if you see opportunities and they're going to play their one high defense, meaning your receivers are one-on-one against these corners, take your shot. And so it's worked. I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think Ohio State will stop to the end of this game, being aggressive and keep taking those shots when they have them.
No problem with the pass game for Howard, whose last game at Kansas State was played with 5 inches of snow. They played Iowa State. He's used to this stuff. How your feet feeling? The toes
I can't feel
there?
my toes.
I lost about 45 minutes ago, lost feeling in the feet. So
it's good to be in the conditions.
Yeah, heaters are overrated. You know, that one didn't make it in the budget, but it's all right.
It's good.
Powering through. Ball at the 1 yard line.
Still in that same formation with the 4 tight ends.
Judkins, and behind all that scarlet muscle, he powered into the end zone, and Ohio State closing in on the job of finishing off the Volunteers tonight in the final couple minutes of this third quarter.
Chris, you'll love this. Watch the right side, Shabola right here, and big number 70, Josh Fryer. Watch this double team. Bang! That's how you open up the right side in short yardage.
This Ohio State offensive line really ripped by the inability to move Michigan. They were controlled by the interior of that Wolverines defensive line. What a night they've had here.
Sure have.
Against a very, very good defensive front. I mean, Most people thought Tennessee just as good up front as Michigan is.
Yeah, they didn't have a Mason Graham or a Kenneth Grant necessarily, but the depth was going to be the challenge you would have thought for Ohio State. But man, in their preparation, the plan that they came up with, the attitude that they took the field with.
This is the most anyone scored against Tennessee's defense all season. Georgia put 31 on the board. Buckeyes have 35 and counting.
Yeah, if you've not watched Tennessee football much this year, this is not normal for their defense. They usually are the team that's dominating the line of scrimmage. Their secondary was young at the beginning of the year, grew up in the middle of an SEC season. Really, nobody threw the ball on them, but Ohio State privately, when they talked with us, said, we got a lot of respect for them, but we don't know if their corners have been tested the way our quarterback and our receivers think we can go after them, and that sure has played out today.
Receivers have done well, and Howard has dropped some dimes. He's been incredibly accurate with his passes. Even the short, easy poke throws, he's hit guys in stride. When he's put the ball downfield, it's been beautifully thrown passes. Since that pick, 10 for 10, Kirk, 121 and a touchdown. Whew. Take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance. I'm focusing on this Ohio State defense. It's held Tennessee to a $173 so far.
Yeah, and like we talked about, look at the depth of the safeties. When you see safety depth like that, usually you're going to run the football, but it's allowed them to keep their safeties back, not have to load up the line of scrimmage, rely on that front four, and they've just been suffocating and being more physical, really being more athletic. I think overall, Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator from Ohio State, has to be very proud of the way this veteran defense has played all year, and especially tonight in this playoff game.
Empty backfield, it's Peyton Lewis who makes the catch. Usually that'd be Dylan Sampson making a catch. He came back out for a couple of plays here in the third quarter, didn't have a carry, and now he's back on the sidelines.
Just not able to go. Man, nobody wants to be out there more than number 6 for Tennessee.
Second down run, and spinning out across the 35 is Lewis, knocked down by Caleb Downs. It's a first down.
Normally you would say with Tennessee, as fast as they go, they're never out of a football game, but until the receivers start to make some plays, it's hard to imagine.
Well, there's a play made by Jack Sawyer. This veteran has been tuned up from the very first play tonight, and he makes another huge impact play.
Backup tackle Dane Davis in the game, and my gosh, is this a tough assignment. Nobody helping him out, nobody on the chip. And Sawyer has had, like you said, Chris, from really the opening drive all the way through this game, leading the way up front. Both these edge players from Ohio State's defense, big and athletic and winning most of the game.
All those people who are giving him trouble in the pub, drinks on them. Next time Jack shows up, whenever that is. There's a break between the next game. That's it. The end of 3 in Columbus. Buckeyes with 2 touchdowns in that third quarter to reassume control. College football playoff. First round presented by Allstate. Fourth quarter coming up. Drones zooming over the horseshoe. Welcome back to the CFP first round presented by Allstate. All the stops brought out for this beautiful occasion, the first ever December home game in Ohio Stadium. They didn't expect to host a playoff game when the season began, right? They thought they could win the Big Ten, get that bye. Didn't happen. They made the most of this occasion, and the Rose Bowl awaits so they can finish the job. Up by 25 starting the final quarter. Inside shovel pass, Lewis. There's a couple of blockers. Buckeyes close him down. Way behind the 6 on second down. Not the explosive they were looking for. It'll be 3rd and 14.
Really got to give Jim Knowles a lot of credit for this defensive plan that he's come up with. Had a couple weeks to get ready for the tempo and the unusual formations, the way Tennessee spreads you out. he has put together a plan. He's leaned on his defensive line to win the line of scrimmage. He's widened out both Cody Simon and Sonny Styles, just a threat with a potential perimeter run. And he's been able to keep his safeties, for the most part, deep, while being light up close to the line of scrimmage, which is very unusual against the Tennessee football team.
Pressure, Imaliaba escapes, long way to go. He's fighting and trying hard, showing a lot of heart. Simon eventually brings him down about 6 yards short of the first down. Tennessee's offense staying out there, down 25. Sawyer comes off the field on this play. Got to get to the Tennessee 45 to keep any faint flicker of mounting a comeback alive. Play clock at 2. Just get it snapped. 4-man rush, downfield shot, incomplete. Diving attempt by Brazel. The throw was off target, and Ohio State will take over. Well, they got in rhythm for a while. The passing game, the receivers nicked up, not able to get free. It's been a tough night for this Tennessee offense, and the Buckeyes will take over in plus territory. So many teams go to the portal to find a quarterback. Will Howard at Kansas State, he was an effective thrower, ran the ball, but this by far his best passing season of his career. So many weapons to work with. You know, asked to be a leader and a steady hand and just get the ball to these guys, and he's done that job beautifully tonight.
Yeah, he has, but again, we got to give the Ohio State offensive line an assist for that, and the scheme that Chip Kelly and Ryan Day have come up with. But he has been in rhythm. He's playing with confidence. He's got a big smile on his face most of the game, and I think he's playing with a big chip on his shoulder after that Michigan game and those 2 interceptions.
Henderson knocked down. You almost saw kind of a palms up, arms stretched out. How do you like me now look from Howard? This is a real thing. You know, Ryan Day wants his guys to sort of prove each other right. The guys in the building, the guys who have the support groups, the loved ones who don't lose belief in them. Everybody else who didn't believe, who jumped off the bandwagon,
a lot of those.
That's big motivation too, as you know, for this team.
Oh yeah, I do think it's a shut the locker room down. It's us, and we're going to go see what we can do. I think it's that kind of approach right now.
Howard takes off. Tripped as he had some daylight there. Knocked down to 30. There's the expression you used, Woody against the world. It's the Woody Hayes Center. That's the team facility.
Yeah.
Everything outside of that, that's the world. And sometimes these guys feel like no one else believes in them.
And I think when you can capture a chip on your shoulder in football, whether it's the NFL, high school, college, when you can have a team collectively feel disrespected and you can use that as motivation. How many times have you ever seen that when teams didn't? The big thing is, can you maintain that after a game like this? Can you keep that chip on your shoulder when now everybody's going to be patting you on the back?
Ohio State now just trying to finish this game cleanly. Easy first down pickup by Howard there.
You know, I had a chance to go to their senior tackle last Sunday, and my son, who had a heart condition, Zach, my middle son, he's on the team. He's a senior. And very interesting to watch these position coaches pull up their players. He's on the right there, 89. They pull up their players, they talk about him, and then the player grabs the mic, and it's all closed. It's only people in the Woody Hayes facility, the players, the seniors, the team, and then the families of the seniors. And these guys would talk, and this is after the Michigan loss. A lot of these guys were emotional, talking about what they're going to do in the postseason. And to hear every one of those guys, Cody Simon and Mecca Buka, just the emotion and the passion that they have for each other was powerful.
No doubt. Incomplete, overshot. Other programs may do something similar, Kirk, but it's really a powerful, beautiful thing, that senior tackle tradition here.
When I did it, it was open to the public. It was here in Ohio Stadium, and Chris Spielman or one of the former Ohio State players would come out and say a few words and, you know, take maybe 30 minutes. This took a good 2 hours, and it was heartfelt. It wasn't for the camera. It wasn't for the media. It wasn't for anything other than these guys just talking to each other and talking to their families about the gratitude that they have. It was powerful, like I said.
Henderson breaks free. House call for Ohio State. 24 yards as the Buckeyes can begin planning for Pasadena and a rematch with the Ducks.
Speaking of the seniors, this was one of them that really left a big impact on me hearing him talk. Trevion Henderson has been through so much as an Ohio State player. Had over 1,200 yards as a true freshman, battled through injuries, follows the counter here. And this guy, you know, he found the Lord, you know, throughout his time at Ohio State, went through so much adversity and changed and grew as a man. And what a time for him to have probably the best game that he's had this year. Catching the ball in the backfield, making some big runs, averaging 8 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns on the ground.
He's got 2. Judkins has 2. Jeremiah Smith has 2 touchdowns. Buckeyes in each half began with 3 consecutive touchdown drives. The lead is 32 in the shoe.
The College Football Playoff first round is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands. And in part by Nike. Just do it.
The Grinch and Santa.
Watch this look right here. And Jack Sawyer, little wink. He's like, that's it, big fella.
Interesting relationship the day has with Sawyer.
They know their coach.
He's one of the veteran players. You can almost talk to him like a coach, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm telling you, these guys respect Coach Day for what he's been through from the outside noise and how he's been behind closed doors with Jack Sawyer and some of these other seniors and the whole team, really. And they played tonight for him as much as anything.
More work to do. A loss tonight, compounding the agony of the Michigan loss, would have really ratcheted up the noise here heading to the offseason. This win puts them in the quarterfinals and a chance to avenge the loss at Oregon, but will not satisfy the locals. I think you agree. Holly?
Well, guys, you're talking about that senior banquet and what the guys were saying to each other. Well, I just witnessed something down here. Senior Jack Sawyer just went up to the right guard, Tegrid Shabola, who had been really criticized after that Michigan loss, publicly humiliated. And he went over to him and said, man, I love you. I'm so proud of you. This is after the big run by Trevion Henderson. That is what leadership on this team by these seniors is all about, building guys up when they've been down. And that was a great example of that right there.
Yeah, thanks, Holly. It's the way you would hope a veteran team would respond after a crushing disappointment. But there's no guarantee, because the Ohio State-Michigan game really is unlike any other in the sport. And the noise, the vitriol locally is so bad when they lose for a 4th straight year. They were 3 touchdown favorites in that game. It was a terrible performance.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But they responded.
Sure. I think Ohio State right now, when they play Michigan, it's almost like they coach not to lose instead of coaching and playing to win. Tonight, does this look like the same team as far as their mindset and how they played in that Michigan game? Michigan deserves all the credit, but I'm just saying the approach from Ohio State is very different.
Here comes the pressure, and the ball is knocked loose. Tuimoloau got in off the edge and hit Nico. They retained possession, but it's a huge loss.
It's just been a mismatch on the right side and been a tough night for these tackles, whether it's been Campbell or Dane Davis. This time it's Davis. Seen Sawyer win on that side. Now Tuimoloau wins on this side. That's where you get an injury often. That's what happened to Carson Beck when he's starting to follow through and got hit. It's a lot of pressure and tense off defensive lineman closing in on you as you're making a throw.
3rd and 18 after the 4th sack for this Ohio State defense. countless pressures as well. Incomplete across the middle. And there was Brazel, who was covered by Matthews, and it's 4th down again.
Ohio State, and you know, their fan base, they hear a lot about SEC. That chant started early, kind of mocking the SEC, but that's it. That's the Ohio State record against the SEC all time, 3-12-1.
They lost their last 3, including that heartbreaker to Georgia in the college football playoff semifinal in Atlanta when the Dogs went on to pummel TCU, and certainly Ohio State had to feel like we made that field goal, that national championship was ours, and Ryan Day, they would be quiet in regard to criticizing him if they had gotten that championship. Didn't happen, of course. They're still alive, very much alive, and there's JT. Yeah, they call Captain Jack. Full contact in the air there. After the game, stay tuned for the Nissan post-game. Work is not done.
You warming up?
There's a little corner of this booth known as the bathroom where it's not 22
Why
degrees.
Is it so hot?
I don't ask that question. I'm just trying to get in there. You talk about like, these players. I mean, look, we're not in our 20s anymore, but your body does lock up in the cold. Do you find that?
Yeah, especially when you stand still in it.
It does.
Devin Brown in the game. Here you go.
Old number 33. He's in the portal, but he's still the backup quarterback at Ohio State for this week. It's interesting. This is a sign of the times. I don't want to get you going, but you know, it is. He could get a call and not be the backup for the next game.
Is that how it works?
It could be that. It's kind of it's week to week.
I can't keep track. Honestly, I don't.
His agent is fielding offers, but he's still.
What if he accepts? He can't stay if you accept something?
I don't know the fine print of that. I think once you accept, you probably are gone.
Can you accept with your agent off the record and not make it public? And then, is that something that happens?
I don't know the rules.
I don't know how it works. It's crazy. He can spin it.
And he gets the pass complete over the far side there to Brandon Ennis at midfield. Holly?
Okay, I did check on this. It varies institution to institution on if a kid goes in the portal, can he stay and be part of your team? So that's a decision Ryan Day has had to make. He actually had a meeting with his team captains and said, how do you guys feel about this? He's in the portal. Do you still want him to be part of our team? And they do. They're going to reevaluate this at the end of next week. But for now, he's the backup in there. And if you wonder why he's wearing 33, it's to honor Sammy Baugh. A very unusual quarterback number these days. Yes.
I knew you had done your research on that, Holly. Of course you would know that. They were sharing that the question is if he gets a call and makes his next move, then that's a little different.
Yeah.
Staying with the team.
That's cool that he's
33 trots off.
Cool that he's out there. Well, this Ohio State, if there's one memory we should all have about this game, this matchup, Ohio State at the line of scrimmage, and of course Will Howard making big plays and Jeremiah Smith being left on an island and often winning those one-on-one matchups. Ohio State over 150 yards rushing, no sacks, and Howard only pressured 6 times the whole game.
Tremendous job of protection, and that O-line opening big holes in the running game for Henderson and Judkin. Let's go inside the CFP, see what we got here, presented by Capital One, and we'll take a look at this game we referred to mid-October in Eugene, Oregon. Really early season showdown. There's Smith making a catch, but Dylan Gabriel was the star of the game. Huge day passing, beat him with his legs too, and this was a decisive moment. You don't see the clock, but there was 6 seconds to go when he began that scramble, lost track of
trying to get in the field goal range.
No chance to kick a field goal, and the Ducks survive.
What a rematch that'll be.
Oregon, by the way, 496 yards.
He goes back to back.
Offense,
yeah, the only team that scored over 20 points against the Ohio State defense all year. And
Gabriel, of course, Heisman finalist. I mean, it'll be interesting meetings, conversations in the Ohio State defensive side of things, trying to figure out what they can do differently to slow down the most experienced quarterback in the history of college football. That's how many games started at 3 schools.
If you go back and remember that game, there was Tez Johnson, the receivers as a group. Speaking about Jeremiah Smith, it was Oregon's big plays through the air. And Dylan Gabriel scrambling around and making plays with his feet. It was really the combination of the two.
Ohio State didn't have a sack or a takeaway. Only had 2 tackles for loss for -3 the whole game. So Oregon controlled the line of scrimmage when they had the football. Pitch on the edge. Catch is made by Braylon Staley. William Aliama still in the game. He said he played with a lot of heart tonight. I mean, they lost Sampson, their top offensive weapon for most of this game. Injuries continue to mount. Squirrel White out. Thornton hasn't been able to do much. You're relying on true freshmen out there trying to make plays in the cold. Guys who haven't been called on for most of the season. It's been a tough assignment.
Yeah, been very, very tough. We're showing a lot of Sampson because we miss seeing him tonight. Wish him the best. But the receivers had a very tough time against the Ohio State secondary. The coverage they've been able to play because of the way their defensive line is played. Think about the future for this Vols. You know, Nico, the only Tennessee freshman quarterback to win 10 or more games. Pretty big accomplishment. Been some pretty good quarterbacks that have come through Knoxville.
Yeah, I can think of a couple.
I can think of a couple.
And Mia Valbiavis shows an arm strength down there. 50-50 ball incomplete. It was broken up by Bryce West. Freshman corner. It was true versus true out there on the edge.
Yeah. Good recovery by the true freshman. He's out of Glenville with Troy Smith and Teddy Ginn. So many great players have come from that high school and made their way down to Columbus to play for the Buckeyes. Look at that recovery. Then gets both hands on that football. Located the ball. Is able to high point it and knock it away.
Heupel will punt here. So many of these tremendous Tennessee fans who made the 5-hour drive with a flight and tried to take over the stadium. They did a better job than any opposing fan base ever has. Many of them have decided that they've had enough on a cold night. Head back down I-75, was it, to Knoxville?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how far of a drive that is, but you really got to tip your cap to these fans.
Sure do.
Vol Nation, they show up no matter where their team plays. Over 5-hour drive to get here, showing a dedication. I've never seen Ohio Stadium with more than maybe 3,000 or 5,000 maybe tops of an opposing fan base.
How about game day? Have you ever seen opposing fans take over a game?
Never.
This game day has been here more than any other time, any other spot in the country.
Yeah, never. I was probably 70-30 at game day this morning.
Third Ohio State quarterback, Julian Sand, a talented freshman out of California, originally began his career at Alabama. And he hands the ball off to James Peoples, the freshman.
Just to give you a little bit more perspective, you know, with Skull Session, and it's like a little pep rally the day of the game with a band, which is a big deal at Ohio State. They're at St. John Arena. It's the old basketball arena. Usually it's standing room only, people in there forever, excited to see the band. Ryan Day comes in and gives a few words, and one of the players talking to some of the coaches, the Ohio State coaches on the field. They said, man, how about game day? And they said, how about the Skull Session? Half empty, nobody in there. They said they were blown away.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is it cold? I have no idea. Is it the Michigan game?
You know, Day had a look in his eye when he made that walk in here. And by the way, as he's making the walk over here, a lot of Tennessee fans were there heckling him.
Yeah.
And he had that look, man. You can't get kind of more laser focused or defiant looking than he was walking in. I think you make a point. It was all this stuff fueled what we saw on the field.
100%. Yeah, it wasn't just the Tennessee fans showing up. I think it was, he felt it. He's heard about it. His family's heard about it.
Now, Kirk, how much of this softens the blow of that Michigan loss? More work to do, right, for folks to forgive and forget that one?
I can't speak on behalf of the lunatic fringe. I'm not sure how they operate. Yeah, the lunatic fringe at Ohio State is as powerful as anywhere in the country.
How big is the fringe?
It used to be 8 to 10. I think it's grown now to about 15 to 20. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll be happy tonight, be fired up about what the Ohio State team did. But God forbid they lose to Oregon. They may want to fire them again.
But that's not reality. I mean,
No.
that's the thing. When you hear pundits on this network and other places talk about that with certainty, it's nonsense, frankly. I mean, the public doesn't pull the trigger and get rid of the coach.
No.
The administrators do, and they're behind them.
Yeah. First Take tried to fire him. They thought he was done. So I'll be excited to see what they talk about on Monday after this performance. They had him out. They're trying to find replacements. But here he is. There he is. He's still got his hat on. He's still coaching.
On to Pasadena. You know, it used to be always, for decades and decades, the promised land, the ultimate place for an Ohio State team to dream about going. And it's still going to be super special, but it is a quarterfinal game. Let's be honest. I mean, this is the team that won a championship in the playoff era, lost a championship game in the COVID season to Alabama, an unbelievable talented Alabama team, and then lost the semifinals. But they're not going to get excited about being in the quarters. Would you agree? And there's still work to do for this team to meet its potential.
Sure. I just know, when you watch football and evaluate football, this is a solid performance against a very talented Tennessee football team. They dominated the line of scrimmage. The quarterback played well. There's a lot to look at this game and see a team that responded to adversity.
Oh, I agree. It's more than solid. It's exceptional.
I'm just saying, in football, you're really evaluated on how you respond to adversity. There's going to be adversity. It's just the reality of the sport. But how are you going to respond to it?
You're talking to the players, Kirk. This
entire team responded to the adversity.
100%. And I think you have to do that in this era. This is the way it is. You're going to have teams with 2 losses regularly make the playoff. You're going to have teams that have had to bounce back, respond, hopefully learning, grow from those losses. The idea, I mean, Oregon, I guess they're potentially could be a 16-0 national champion. They're the only team that arrives without blemishes.
Yeah. I think you're right.
2 one-loss teams who got thumped out of the playoff in the first round, Indiana and SMU.
Right. But I think your point is something we're all learning to digest in this new 12-team format and this new NIL and transfer portal era. The days of building up your roster and having depth, proven depth, even the Goliaths of this sport are over. We talked to Kirby Smart about that in Sark last week or a couple weeks ago at the SEC Championship. It's just that, you get a starter hurt and you're going to a freshman, and instead of a proven 2 or 3 year guy. And I think that's why you see teams like Indiana and SMU and Arizona State and Boise State, these teams that are getting their chances. Vanderbilt, has all of a sudden become a competitive team. It's kind of the new reality of the talent being spread out more evenly.
For teams like Ohio State that are stacked with talent and brain trusts like the one here, Ryan Day began preparing for this. Holly mentioned it, but it was a intentional thing to slow the tempo down, to run about 150 fewer plays, to be fresher for game 13, 14, 15, 16. The shot to the end zone by Iamaleava, and it's batted away. Brazel was out there, but closing down to break up the play was Aaron Scott, backup corner. So that was one thing that did. Obviously, they do a great job keeping guys fresh. I take it back. That's just bounced off the shoulder pad. It wasn't broke up. Should have been caught for a touchdown. But they do a tremendous job. Strength and conditioning, the health staff of monitoring these guys, making sure if a dude isn't quite fresh, if his performance is down, and what they call the jump plate, they begin to ratchet, pull him back in practice, save his energy. All the science that comes into play, it's going to be important in this new era.
It's also
off and running is Lewis, and he's knocked down inside the 10.
It's also knowing you have a roster that you can foreshadow and think about the opportunity of, hey, we got a team that's going to potentially play 16 games.
Yeah.
Not everybody can approach August with that mindset.
No, I agree.
You know, but it is pretty amazing to think they've done that to the best of their ability to keep these guys fresh, and it's worked.
Well, look, we've seen even in the 4-team playoff bracket, which is 2 rounds, injuries mount and pile up. And what you don't want, if you love this sport, and the playoff has a lot of exciting benefits, what you don't want it to be is this battle of attrition where the injuries just do mount round after round, and the championship is decided by just who's got the most bodies healthy at the end of the season. And Lewis knocked down at 2. So it's important to, as you win these playoff games in advance, to try to stay healthy if you can. Texas, I noticed, had a couple of guys who leave the game with injury in that game as they get set to battle Arizona State in the next round. Ohio State, as far as we can tell, come out of this pretty healthy. Josh Fryer left the game, the right tackle, but he came back in. Is slamming forward. No signal yet. I thought
he's in there.
Had gotten in. Nico working hard down that goal line. Backed into the end zone. Finally, the signal, and it's for him. Second rushing touchdown tonight.
Look at him. This kind of represents his night. He knows what he's running into. That's a lot of big bodies he's going to run right into. And he was clearly in the end zone for the touchdown. This kid hasn't had a lot of help tonight with his receivers, and with Sampson down, it's really fallen all on his shoulders. He's doing everything he can to keep his team competitive.
Barely 100 passing yards. Did not have an interception, but was sacked 4 times, harassed a lot, as you said, really made more impact plays running than throwing. And he gives Tennessee fans a lot of hope that going forward they can build on this season. I mean, they're picked 7th in the SEC by the media preseason. It's a very deep conference, not defined as much this year by the elite performance at the top. Now we'll see. Texas and Georgia are still alive. The depth was tremendous. SEC fans will look and say, well, wait a minute, I watched SMU play. I watched Indiana play. Are you telling me that that SMU team was more deserving than other SEC teams? No point in that argument, but they'll talk about it all off season. But clearly the Big Ten has been doing some flexing, and the Big Ten appears best positioned to grab the championship this year and make it back-to-back with 3 teams still alive. 2 of them, of course, will collide in Pasadena. Minute 56. Ohio State headed for the Rose Bowl. No doubt, Scott, it has been fun. It's been an electric environment here and around all of the 4 sites. Not what we're looking for in terms of competitive tension. Frankly, you hope for a couple of classic games, and really all 4 of them have been less than packed with competitive tension in the final quarter. Here's a victory cigar tradition that Seth McLaughlin brought with him from Alabama. Big old center, injured out, got that stogie down there. Of course, they do that in the SEC. Probably not permitted in the sidelines, but we can cut him a break here.
Yeah.
He won the Remington Award as the best center, even though he got hurt. I did see him give Luke Montgomery, the backup, he got a hit, gave me a hit off of it. His Achilles injury is a tough one. Talked to him on his scooter. Such a great example of the sport. You know, a guy was part of Alabama's attempt to win a championship a year ago. Played in the Rose Bowl. Now he'll be, along with his teammates, going back to the Rose Bowl.
Taking his stogie with him out west.
Oh yeah. Might need a couple more cigars. Got 3 more games to win if they're going to get to the promised land. What do you know about Lincoln Kienholz?
I know he played in the Cotton Bowl last year against Missouri when Devin Brown went down. Very talented, athletic guy out of the great state of South Dakota. 6'3", 207. Incredibly athletic.
South Dakota, home state of Josh Heupel.
Yep. What a night for that young man.
Will Howard, just a dude who's totally, as you said, respected by his teammates. Had some moments this year that he would have liked to have back, but his leadership has never wavered at all. And he will go to Pasadena against Dylan Gabriel and the Ducks and try to pay back that loss and get a step closer.
I think Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith's going to get a lot of attention, but JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer, the two guys on the edge of this defense, a couple veterans that have played in a lot of football games here for Ohio State. Man, did they step up. Jim Knowles had a plan. Those two leaders really executed it. This defensive line really won the game on that side of the football for Ohio State.
Roses are being passed down as is another tradition.
Hey, Ohio State, Oregon in the Rose Bowl in this era of what game, who's going where? Ohio State, Oregon? That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's a Big Ten rematch, but it feels much like a classic West Coast Big Ten.
You can call it a Big Ten rematch. In my brain, it's a Pac-12 Big Ten game for me. for me.
Historic night in the Horseshoe. This was a Scarlet smackdown. Ohio State comes out quick. Tennessee battles back within 11 at the break, but Ohio State reassumes control early in the third quarter. Buckeye defensive front, as you said, the dominant story, along with a comprehensive performance by the offense as Ohio State comes up with 473 total yards.